Chapter 81, The Clash of Two Kings. The Clash of Conquerors Haki, he too has it just like our chief. A disbelief expression surfaced on the faces of red-haired pirates. When did the weakest of the four blues produce such an expert? Their house Hoku Haki was still locked in battle. It knocked everyone within a certain range aside from the strong-willed ones. Only the strongest fighters in Shanks's crew withstood the clash. Which of the two possessed the superior willpower? The one with the unwavering conviction will win, but in Blaze and Shanks's case, both of them are strong, so their clash ended with neither winning over the other. Shanks stared directly at Blaze's eyes. He sensed the intent behind them, a pure eagerness to fight. He was surprised to find such an interesting person in East Blue. You are strong, Shanks casually commented. Your haki is stronger than mine. Blaze didn't accept the praise. He could tell Shanks is stronger than him when it comes to haki and sword mastery. But in terms of physical strength, he's superior. Shanks's strength should be at the level of Admiral while Blaze is slightly weaker. The find only further intensified his spirit to fight Shanks. Only by fighting a stronger opponent, he can become stronger. What's your name? Shanks asked. He wondered why he hadn't heard of such a strong person before in Grand Line. Blaze, why did you attack us? To fight, of course. It's pretty boring in East Blue. You came at the right time. I was missing a sparring partner, Blaze said. His statement is an open challenge. True, I was also feeling the same. Shanks was also getting excited. It's also the reason why he came here, to train and push his haki to the next level. Though the opponent before him looked weak, his spirit is strong. Looking at Blaze, Shanks released a dangerous momentum. But, are you strong enough to face me? Why don't we find it out? Blaze smirked. As soon as he answered, Shanks's aura flared while his blade turned pitch black from his arms to the tip of the blade. Jumping from the ship, he slashed at Blaze. The sheer strength of his swing split the air, stirred the wind around him, propelling a vacuum blade towards Blaze. The attack had a certain beauty and rhythm to it. Unfazed by the attack, Blaze coated his arms with haki and punched the space before him. The raw strength coupled with haki quaked the surrounding, creating an air pressure that crashed towards Shanks' attack. Boom! As both the ranged attacks collided, a resounding thunderous sound echoed out through the area, followed by two quick flashes of blue lightning which signaled the clash of two haki users. Shanks' blade slashed through the air pressure released by Blaze's attack and stormed forward. Blaze lost in the direct confrontation. Blaze didn't back down as the blade of air came at him. Shrouding his hands with armament haki, he tried to block the attack by crossing his arms over his chest. Only when he came in contact with the blade, Blaze understood he miscalculated. The force contained in the strike is far greater than he anticipated. And, the result? Blood splattered. The wind blade pierced his haki coating and cut both his hands, causing a skin-deep wound. This level of injury is nothing but a scratch to Blaze. He used twice as much haki than Shanks in the attack, but he still lost. Though his haki attribute reached 35, he was only able to bring out half of its power. His use of haki is too shallow as he lacks experience and practice. Looking at Shanks, Blaze clenched his fist and spoke, "You are good? That's how it should be, otherwise, it would be too boring." Just as Blaze and Shanks faced in midair, the red-haired pirates watched the confrontation from their ship that kept some distance from the battle. At the same time, Rosinante and Regis observed the battle from the distance while the other marine soldiers on board were knocked out by the earlier clash of Conquerors haki. Suddenly, Blaze's wounds gave off white steam, and to everyone's astonishment, the cut inflicted by Shanks healed at a pace visible to the naked eye. In no time, his injuries healed completely while there wasn't even a scar left. Our battle is just starting. Saying this, Blaze dashed forward and punched both his hands repeatedly. His punches were so fast and strong that caused friction in the air and sparked flames. A barrage of flaming balls of air pressure the size of Blaze's fist rained upon Shanks. At the same time, Blaze concentrated his strength on the right leg and lanced Rankyaku. His leg beamed a razor-sharp projectile towards Shanks. Unlike regular Rankyaku, Blaze blended a huge amount of haki into the strike, making it more powerful. The air blade is as strong as Shanks's earlier attack. Blaze didn't stop after the series of attacks, as he accelerated towards Shanks for close combat. Undeterred by the barrage of Blaze's flashy attacks, Shanks simply muttered a single word, "Interesting," and launched his own attack. Tightening the grip, his arms bulged a little while he casually swung his blade from left to right in a manner of half-circle. Shanks's blade compressed the wind around it in the form of a tornado that moved forward in full force. The strike made contact with Blaze's barrage of punches and Rankyaku kick. Clash. As both the strikes are of equal force, they dissipated in midair. In that short time frame, Blaze bridged the gap between him and Shanks. Hardening his leg with Tekai and coating it with armament haki, he delivered a devastating kick aimed right for Shanks's face. Shanks tried to block the attack by raising his sword that's covered in haki. Bang! But, the tremendous force behind the kick reeled him back, generating a shockwave that spread in all directions. This is Blaze's strongest combination, Tekai plus haki. He can make up for his lack of haki with the Tekai skill that he had been practicing for over a year now. Even though he succeeded, he didn't rejoice. He knew Shanks too wasn't giving his all like him. Blaze refrains from using his devil fruit power so that he can enhance his haki. Similar to him, Shanks was also holding back. Chapter 82, Shanks's strength. An hour passed since both of them began to battle. Loud booms were birthed from the various clashes between Blaze and Shanks, generating sparks of lightning everywhere around the area. The sea below them trembled, blowing water, while the sky above rumbled with dark clouds and purple lightning. Even the resident of Fusha village 10 kilometers away from the battle location felt the change. The grey clouds and occasional shockwaves scared them a little. What's happening? A resident wondered. Is it a storm? It seems like Chief is having fun, Usopp commented, while others in the crew also noticed the spirited expression on Shanks's face. The opponent channels too much haki in his strike to match Shanks. It won't be long before he runs out of it. Still, he's a pretty strong fellow considering his age. Ben Beckman spoke. But if Chief gets serious, the battle won't last long, Lucy Rue said. Hearing it, Ben Beckman shook his head as he could tell Blaze is holding back. Just as the crew chatted among themselves, the fight between Blaze and Shanks intensified. Boom! A fatal strike came at Blaze. Shanks' sword thrusts got more powerful after every stroke. He seems to be testing his limits. Blaze tried to avoid taking a direct hit from the wind blade, but Shanks predicted his move as the strike found his way towards him. The attack struck his haki-coated body and gashed his body from right shoulder to left side of the stomach. The collision and resulting force slammed his body straight into the ocean. It's true, Blaze is on verge of losing the battle. Still, his face shone in the face of a worthy challenge. Shanks's haki and sword mastery is on a different level, but that's what he wants. His fighting techniques, haki, physical mastery, everything needs further practice. The fight with Shanks gave him the idea of how to achieve it. There are many things he learned in the battle. He needs to reflect on them and improve himself. He had only been fighting for over an hour, but he exerted 2/3 of his haki while Shanks' haki hadn't depleted much. It's the difference between them. Splash. Climbing out, Blaze stood on the water and wiped the blood from his lip. The wound inflicted by the last attack is quite deep as the injury wasn't healing fast. The other reason is, his body had been constantly renewing his injuries caused by Shanks throughout the battle. There's a limit to his healing as it directly comes from his stamina. As for Shanks, he was astonished by Blaze's tenacity and willpower. And, he found Blaze's physical body is similar to Kaido, full of power and strong life force. Unfortunately, Blaze is too young and inexperienced. If not for that, his battle would have been a tough one. You are a good opponent but already exhausted yourself. Fighting anymore is meaningless. I will be in East Blue for a while, you can challenge me anytime you want. Shanks smiled, sheathing his sword back. Blaze wasn't offended by Shanks's words. It's indisputable fact that he's weak. And, it's also the reason why he sought Shanks, to enhance his combat powers. He knew the latter won't hurt him badly since he isn't the type of person who kills for a petty reason. Looking at Shanks, he nodded. I will look for you the month later. Shanks then boarded his ship and left the area. His ship sailed towards Fusha village. Blaze knew their battle is not the end, it's just the beginning. After fighting Shanks, he found many shortcomings in the way how he fights and utilizes his strength. He needs to correct them before looking for Shanks. Today, he fought Shanks to gauge the gap between them. Shanks hadn't reached the level of Yonko, in fact, his abilities are just at the level of Admiral. But, in terms of combat power he's unequaled in the same level. Even if he meets a Yonko, he can escape unscathed, that's how powerful he is. As for his crew, they are just learning haki. Only Ben Beckman, Lucky Roo, and Usopp looked formidable whose haki level reached an advanced stage. Few minutes after Shanks left, his marine ship came and picked him. On board, Regis spoke, red-haired Shanks is powerful as described in rumors. Rosinante wondered. What such a powerful person is doing in East Blue? Blaze just lay in the deck of the ship lost in thought, basking in the sunlight. Shanks's strength didn't surprise him as he isn't your ordinary man. In his younger years, he sailed the sea along with Roger and one of the most powerful pirate crew in the world. He's experienced and knew things that ordinary people don't. His knowledge is vast as he had traveled the New World and met many strong people. As for Blaze, he lacks exposure. If not for his punishment, he would have entered the New World by now. Blaze then checked his status panel. Name, Blaze Hunt. Occupation, Marine. Constitution, 51.1. Devil Fruit Potential, 44.9. Haki, 35.5. Free Attribute Point, 6.8. The battle with Shanks increased his haki by 0.5 points. As for the natural energy buff, it already weakened. If he trains hard every day, his haki increases by 0.2 every week. The higher his attributes, the harder it gets to increase them. If not for the system, he couldn't imagine how many years it would take him to reach the summit of the world. Forget about that. Without the gift pack or system he may forever have been remained as a slave or perished by now. Luck is important. Fortunately, he's lucky to be transmigrated with a gift pack. The quickest way to improve his strength is through system rewards. For that, he needs to complete the task issued by the system or by completing achievements. Right now, he only has a single task in his taskbar. Task, 1 Punch Man Workout. Description, do 2000 push UPS, 2000 sit UPS, 2000 squats, and a 30 km run daily for 750 days. Time, 750 days 720/750. Reward, 5.0 Constitution plus 5.0 Devil Fruit Potential plus 3 free attribute points. Only 30 days left in the One Punch Man workout task. Once he completes it, his strength will have a drastic change and his Devil Fruit attribute will also cross the 50 bar limit. Furthermore, he has 6.8 free attribute points. If he combined it with the reward that he would get from the above task, it would be 9.8. Blaze plans on allocating them to the Haki attribute. It would be a huge boost to his strength once his Haki attribute crosses the 50 bar limit. Above everything, he needs perfect training and should learn how to utilize his strength smartly. Chapter 83, Solar Energy. Shanks' ship. Boss, is that man strong? You looked like having fun fighting against him. Lucky Roo asked. He's strong. His strength is only a little short of me, but he's inexperienced as he's still young. In a few more years, he will definitely come to be a formidable opponent. Shanks replied, recalling the fight. What about his identity? Ben Beckman spoke. Shanks waved his hand. It doesn't matter, as long as he isn't our enemy. He then wondered in his heart. A person with such strong conqueror Haki, it seems like the stay in East Blue won't be that boring. It didn't take long for the red-haired pirate ship to reach the Fuchsia village. The official plot began. Days passed by. Occasionally, Blaze would visit the Fuchsia village to meet Makino, Luffy, and others when Shanks and his crew aren't around. It's not like he doesn't dare to visit the village when Shanks is around, it's just he doesn't want to have much interaction with the other party. Shanks's crew would leave the village now and then, as for where they go Blaze doesn't know nor care. But if he's not wrong, they go out to train. During these days, he didn't waste time by staying idle, he trained very hard from morning to night. Especially his Haki. After 30 days, he completed the last system task 1 Punch Man workout and obtained its reward, further increasing his strength. 5.0 Constitution, 5.0 Devil Fruit Potential, and 3 free attribute points were added to his status. As soon as his Devil Fruit Potential broke past the 50 bar limit, he sensed a major change. A feeling of overwhelming power coursed through his body as if a wave of his hand can destroy islands. Blaze even had a conception that he awakened his devil fruit. It's just he didn't know whether the feeling is true or not. He can only confirm it after testing. But, he didn't dare to experiment with his devil fruit power here as he's afraid of destroying the entire Dawn Island. But, a sudden change in his body drew others' attention. A little far away from him, Regis and Rosinante, who were training their observation Haki, suddenly sensed the change. When they turned their head, they noticed Blaze's entire body glowing in a golden halo. His eyes turned pure golden while a sun-shaped mark took shape on his forehead. Blaze was aware of the change, but everything happened out of his control. Regis and Rosinante had puzzled looks on their faces. What's happening? Rosinante then openly commented. Impressive. He's glowing. Regis looked at Blaze and asked, Blaze-san, are you okay? Stay here? I will explain this later. Saying this, Blaze utilized his Sora technique and vanished from the spot. He then reappeared tens of kilometers away from Dawn Island. His body returned to normal, but the sun-shaped mark on his forehead didn't show signs of fading away. It became permanent, so were his eyes that turned golden. Without minding the changes, Blaze raised his hand that flared in golden flame. Clenching the fist, he punched at the sea below. Unlike every other time, his fist didn't release a stream of fire but a blow of air. The next moment, an ethereal wave enveloped the area, similar to what one notices when the surrounding is too hot. Boom! It triggered a powerful explosion, releasing a torrent of golden flames that annihilated everything in its path. The resulting force blew a huge hole in the sea and the high temperature evaporated the water. Powerful. Blaze commented. He only used a part of his strength. Still, the force of the strike exceeded his expectation. After experimenting for a few more minutes, Blaze understood a little bit about his power, but it's not the full extent of his abilities. It needs further experimenting. If he's not wrong, his sun fruit ability had finally evolved from normal heat to solar energy, the true power of the sun. Using solar energy, he can perform various attacks, but it's entirely up to him to uncover its true potential. For now, he can create solar heat, solar flames, and explosion. The good thing is, his explosions are not radioactive. He can harness the power of the sun, but there's a limit to it. Well, it's good as his attacks won't harm the innocents. There are other aspects to his devil fruit, but he can only sense them vaguely. He needs time to study them. With his current strength, he should be as strong as the admirals. Well, his Haki is weak, but it won't be long before it also crosses the 50 bar limit. Blaze checked his status panel. Name, Blaze Hunt. Occupation, Marine. Constitution, 56.3. Devil Fruit Potential, 50.4. Haki, 36.2. Free Attribute Point, 9.8. Today was the first time after coming to this world that he felt truly free. It doesn't matter what kind of world one is in, power gives freedom. Another 10 days passed. Blaze once again challenged Shanks. Unlike last time, he fought the latter with a weapon. Fighting with a fist is his forte, but against weapon users, it's good to have a weapon. And, battling Shanks, he can improve his weapon skills along with his Haki. Both of them fought for an hour before Blaze lost once again. There's not much difference. The only change is his use of Haki, which is much refined than the last time. Even Shanks was astonished by his development. 10 months passed, Blaze would train hard and challenge Shanks with an interval of 20 to 30 days. It became a routine for both Shanks and Blaze. Without a doubt, they both enjoy the battle. At first, Shanks simply fought him out of boredom and curiosity, but as time passed, Blaze's strength made him serious. He had a premonition that it won't be long before he was forced to use his entire strength. It was a strange feeling that excited Shanks. After 10 months of hard training and battles with Shanks, Blaze's strength had a huge improvement. Even so, he's slightly weaker than the latter. because Shanks's strength also improved during his stay at the Fuchsia village. Each fight with Shanks increased Blaze's attribute by 0.5. At the same time, his training isn't for naught as it raised his Haki attribute by 0.4 every month. After 10 months, his Haki attribute rose to 45.3, a little short of crossing the 50 bar limit. But, in Blaze's eye, his improvement seemed slow since he expected his Haki to reach around 50 points. From the look of things, he can only advance them with the help of his free attribute points. If possible, he wants to save them since he began to feel their importance. Lately, all his attributes have stopped growing. He had to train for weeks just to improve them by 0.1 or 0.2. Chapter 84, System Upgrade and New Function. It won't be long before Shanks leaves the East Blue. Blaze wants to have one last battle with him before he loses his left arm. And, this time he's going to fight him after letting his Haki attribute cross the 50 bar limit. In these 10 months, he didn't reveal his Devil Fruit power to Shanks as utilizing it will hinder his Haki training. He will use it after entering the new world. After thinking through, Blaze added 5 free attribute points to his Haki attribute, directly raising them to 50.3. Closing his eyes, he felt the change. It was addictive, the feeling of power. The major change came from his Haki reserve, they doubled. The next thing he noted is the quality of his spiritual energy. They were more refined and clear, which increased his Haki control. His entire presence changed as his Haki metamorphosed to a whole new level. For the first time, he felt close to his spiritual energy and had perfect control over it. The transformation evolved his armament, observation, and conqueror's Haki. Before he could check the changes, a notification rang in his mind. Alert, the host's strength reached the standard for the system upgrade. The upgrade is in progress, please wait. Blaze was surprised as he didn't expect his system to upgrade suddenly. Is it because all my attributes crossed the 50 bar limit? His support system didn't take a lot of time. After what seemed like 5 minutes, it was fully upgraded. A new interface surfaced in his mind. Name, Blaze Hunt. Occupation, Marine. Constitution, 57.1. Devil Fruit Potential, 51.2. Haki, 50.3. Free Attribute Point, 4.8. Nothing changed in the status panel. His taskbar is empty as there are no tasks, while there are some changes in the Achievement tab. Usually, Blaze won't check the Achievement tab as most of the achievements mentioned are not something that he can complete now. But now, he noticed some adjustments as he clicked the Achievement tab. There are new achievements added with different rewarding options, while some old ones had some changes. What surprised him most is, there are even other rewards aside from attribute points. Blaze checked them one by one. The first few achievements are related to his occupation as a Marine. Some of them are: Achievement, Become a Rear Admiral. Reward, plus 1.0 Constitution, plus 1.0 Devil Fruit Potential, plus 1.0 Free Attribute Point. Achievement, Become a Vice Admiral. Reward, plus 2.0 Haki, plus 2.0 Free Attribute Point. Achievement, Become an Admiral. Reward, plus 3.0 Constitution, plus 3.0 Devil Fruit Potential, plus 3.0 Haki, plus 3.0 Free Attribute Point. Achievement, Become a Fleet Admiral. Reward, plus 5.0 Free Attribute Point, plus 1 Lucky Draw. The rewards were a little different from what he noticed the last time. The major change is the Lucky Draw, and it's also what caught his attention. There was a small note regarding the Lucky Draw from the system. Lucky Draw, using this function, the host can obtain anything that's not limited to the host's current world. Example, weapons, abilities of other worlds, life-saving tokens, a chance to traverse another world, and so on. Wow, Blaze was on cloud 9 reading the description. So I can travel to the other anime worlds. Stifling his zeal, he looked at the other achievements to see if there are other lucky draws. Aside from the one he saw, there were 2 more. Achievement, Claim the title Strongest Man in the World. Reward, plus 5.0 Free Attribute Point, plus 1 Lucky Draw. Achievement, Dethrone the World Government. Reward, plus 10.0 Free Attribute Point, plus 1 Lucky Draw. Seeing the achievements, Blaze knew he won't be able to obtain the Lucky Draw anytime soon. Whether it's dethroning world government, becoming Fleet Admiral, or defeating Whitebeard, none of them are easy to accomplish. He wasn't too concerned about this as he will eventually become stronger, so he looked at other achievements with untroubled expression. Defeating or capturing pirates above 300 million and below 1 billion bounties would yield him 0.5 to 1 free attribute points. At the same time, any pirate or pirate crew worth over 1 billion bounty gives him 2.0 free attribute points. The rewards are different for defeating Yonko. Achievement, Challenge and defeat Sakazuki Akainu. Reward, plus 3.0 Devil Fruit Potential, plus 2.0 Free Attribute Point. The rewards are the same for Kyuzen and Borsalino. Aside from them, there are rewards for defeating Garp and Sengoku. There are also other achievements, but we will talk about them later. Blaze closed the achievement tab and sighed. The attribute points were reduced in most cases. It would be hard to earn them from now on. Even so, with his current strength, it won't be a problem for him to complete some of them. Next day, Blaze is going to challenge Shanks today. He didn't know when the latter will lose his arm and leave East Blue, but it will happen within 1 month. Current year, 5th month of 1512. Blaze and Shanks met at the uninhabited island situated a few kilometers away from Dawn Island and battled for the last time. It was a fierce battle as Blaze used everything aside from his devil fruit power. Blaze's sudden increase in strength caught Shanks off guard. It was also the first time that he was forced to use his entire strength. Shanks's strength is overwhelming and devastating as a swing of his sword cleaved the entire island. Blaze was compelled to use his attribute points. Once again, he raised his constitution attribute from 57.1 to 60.1 using 3 free attribute points. Only then he was able to barely fight on par against Shanks. Their battle lasted for an entire day and night with neither winning over the other. The entire island they fought on has been destroyed completely, nothing remained to prove their existence. It's a small island and thankfully it's uninhabited. The next day when Shanks came back to the Fuchsia village, he was in tatters with bruises and small cuts all over his body. His worn-out appearance drew everyone's attention, especially the red-hair pirate crew. They couldn't believe their eyes. Only they know how powerful their chief is. Ben Beckman squinted his eyes while others showed a concerned look. "Boss, what happened?" Lucky Roo asked. If it was any other time, they would usually laugh but now they couldn't. Shanks, who was silent the entire time, suddenly laughed aloud. Seeing this, the others also laughed along with him. "Boss, you really got us this time. We thought you were feeling low," Yasop commented. Chapter 85, Shanks departs. Another 15 days passed. Blaze had already witnessed Luffy stabbing under his left eye, eating Gomu Gomu no Mi, and the appearance of the bandit Higama. Everything occurred as in the original series. He watched everything like a spectator. And, the event that will trigger the One Piece story finally happened? On this particular day, Higama's gang returned and demanded alcohol in Makino's bar. Luffy tried to pick a fight with him but he was kidnapped by Higama instead. However, Shanks and the red-hair pirates arrived before Higama could do anything to Luffy. After that, everything transpired as happened in the series. Red-hair pirates and bandits confronted, but the bandits were single-handedly crushed by Ben Beckman. Bandit Higama managed to escape with Luffy by throwing a smoke bomb. Higama took Luffy out to sea but he was eaten alive by Lord of the Coast. When the Sea King moved to eat Luffy, Shanks arrived in the nick of time and saved Luffy by scaring the beast with his conqueror's haki. Luffy was okay, but Shanks lost his arm. Blaze watched everything happen but he still couldn't find an answer to why Shanks had to lose his arm, considering his strength. One thing is clear, his actions weren't deliberate. It remained a mystery to Blaze. After 2 days, the red-hair pirates were preparing to leave Fuchsia village for good. Blaze met Shanks after he lost his arm, and said only one thing: "We will meet again in the New World." In the Fuchsia village port, Luffy declared that he would form his own pirate crew stronger than Shanks and will find One Piece. "No matter what, I will become the king of the pirates." Hearing his declaration, no one laughed. All the red-hair pirates looked at Luffy in wonder. Shanks stepped forward and presented his straw hat. "Then, take care of this hat. It's very important to me. Return it once you become a great pirate and surpassed us." After that, the red-hair pirates set sail. Luffy, Makino, Whoop Slap, and other residents were present in the port to send them off while Blaze watched from distance. Shanks gave one last look at Luffy and turned his head while their ship sailed forward. A month passed since Shanks left the village. The East Blue is as calm as always but many things happened around the world. 1512, Reverie took place and a new system was introduced, Shishibukai 7 Warlords of the Sea. The purpose of the 7 Warlords system is to balance the unstable power in the world and to deal with other great pirates. They will be a symbol of the government's strength. The world government stated they are in the process of recruiting the members and made a point that only exceptionally strong individuals will be offered the position. In return for their alliance with the world government, every member's bounty will be frozen. The new system came as a shock to the entire world as this means pirates with ridiculous bounty can roam free once they get the position. Today, a new guest arrived at the Fuchsia village. Monkey D. Garp, the hero of the Marines. Garp saw Blaze who was drinking wine at Makino's bar. In truth, he was stunned to see the latter here and what shocked him most is Blaze's presence. With his observation haki, he saw a vibrant golden aura and it's as strong as a scorching Sunday. The fuck? It's not possible. How the hell did his haki reach such a level in a short span of a year? "Brat, what are you doing here?" Garp asked. "Enjoying my leisurely life," Blaze nonchalantly replied, unsurprised by his arrival. Before Garp could inquire about his strength, Makino's startled voice came from behind the counter. "Garp-san, when did you come?" "Just now, Makino." "Where's Luffy? Is he still going on about becoming a pirate? I have to knock some sense into him." Garp knuckled his fists. Makino laughed a little and said, "Luffy isn't talking about becoming a pirate anymore." "Really?" Garp seems genuinely surprised. "Yes, because he wants to find One Piece and become a pirate king." "What? That brat?" Hearing it, Garp's entire face muscles trembled in anger. "Why are you concerned about a child, Garp-san? It's his dream, you should support him." Blaze gulped a mouthful of wine and spoke. "I'm concerned because he's my grandson." Garp roared. "I won't let him become a pirate. Luffy is your grandson." Blaze showed a shocked expression, even though he knew it already. "Makino, what happened?" Garp asked, without bothering about Blaze. Makino then recounted the things that happened, the arrival of red-hair pirates, their interactions, and Shanks's sacrifice to save Luffy. Red-hair Shanks was here. Garp clenched his fist. He didn't expect them to stay at Fuchsia village for nearly a year and would influence Luffy. "If I had known it beforehand," he thought and sighed. "Is it fate?" Garp then glanced at Blaze and asked, "Who taught you haki? Don't tell me it's the red-hair pirates." "Not them. And, it's my secret. Blaze replied cheekily. On the side, Makino was astonished to see their casual chat. She asked, you two know each other? Yes, Sister Makino. I am not a bounty hunter as you think, I am a marine commander. It's just I am not as strong as Vice Admiral Garp. Blaze replied. As for Garp, he just shook his head. Only he knew how strong Blaze is. No wonder, it's why you didn't visit when Shanks and his crew were here, Makino mumbled. Yes. Blaze didn't say much while Garp had a thoughtful expression. No one knows what he was thinking. At that moment, Luffy's voice came from the outside. Makino ne-san, I am here. But the next second, Luffy was surprised to see Garp inside the bar. He straightforwardly asked, Grandpa, why did you come back? Hearing the words, Blaze laughed aloud, unable to control his laughter. Every other grandchild's first reaction will be, when you did come Grandpa, but Luff is the complete opposite. Luffy, I came to see you after a long time. Is this how you greet your grandpa? Garp welcomed Luffy with a fist of love. AHH. Luffy cried in pain while a little bump grew on his forehead. Chapter 86, Garp and his grandsons. Next day. Right now, Blaze, Garp, and Luffy were climbing the mountain behind the Fuchsia village. It's none other than Mt. Kalyabo where Curly Dodden and her gang of bandits live. Garp dragged Luffy by his face through the mountain path while Luffy's rubbery body dangled in midair while he struggled to get out of Garp's grip. Grandpa, leave me. I will become the king of pirates. Cut the Pirate King crap. Garp yelled. Let me go. Luffy struggled but everything's in vain as he can't shake Garp. Garp reprimanded. On top of eating the devil fruit, you are talking nonsense. Luffy, both you and Ace have to become the strongest marine soldiers. Ow ow ow, damn it. My body is made of rubber but why is it so painful? Let me go, Grandpa. It's a mistake to leave you in the Fuchsia village. Of all things, you like pirates, what a fool. You even become friends with pirates like Shanks. I want to become a great pirate, like Shanks. Garp didn't listen to Luffy's rambling. Blaze just followed them both, enjoying the scenery and funny conversation between Garp and Luffy. Besides, he's going to meet Ace too. It didn't take long for them to reach the peak of the mountain where Curly Dodden's home is located. Garp went and knocked on their door. Curly Dodden opened the door while cursing but stopped as soon as she spotted the figure outside, while bandits Dogra and Magra also came and were shocked to see Garp. The conversation went between them while Garp stated his purpose of visit and introduced Luffy and told them to take care of him. Of course, Dodden refused. But Garp's next words shut her. Here's your choice. Do you want to spend all your life in prison or raise him? We will take him in. They all agreed in unison. As for Blaze, he looked at 10-year-old Ace and Luffy quarreling because of former spitting on him. It's fun to watch the two greatest One Piece characters bickering and their childhood life. Looking at Ace's cocky look and arrogant attitude, Blaze couldn't help but laugh. But, his laughter successfully attracted Ace's attention. What are you laughing at? Ace glared. He hates when others laugh at him. Nothing? It's funny to see a child trying to act like an adult. Aren't you just a child? Blaze replied. What did you say? Ace put a fighting stance and pointed the metal pipe at him, ready to pounce any moment. Blaze beat him up. He spat on my face. Luffy cheered at him. Interesting? You want to fight me? Come. Blaze beckoned while his lips curved a little. Some distance away, Garp and the mountain bandits watched the dispute without interfering. Curly Dodden asked Garp, Garp-san, who's that young man? He's a marine. Ace was completely provoked and irritated just looking at Blaze's face. He didn't know why. He may look like a child but he experienced things that most adults hadn't. Besides, he can even beat 6 feet tall people without breaking a sweat. Gripping his metal pipe, Ace carefully treaded forward and suddenly lunged forward, channeling his strength to his legs. The next moment he appeared before Blaze and swung his metal pipe at the latter's head, jumping a little. Blaze effortlessly evaded his attack and caught Ace by his collar while he forcefully took the metal pipe from him and tossed it away. As for Ace, he struggled with all his might with punches and kicks but it couldn't even tickle Blaze. See, I told you. You're just a child. Saying this, he flicked Ace's forehead with his finger, imbuing a tiny amount of haki. The flick sent him flying back. Ace's body crashed into the nearby tree before falling to the ground while a huge bump arose on the spot he struck. Ah! Ace cried, clutching his head. It was just a flick, but why it's paining so much and my entire body aches. What did he do? Grew up, then you can challenge me? Luffy, do you want one? Blaze asked. No. Luffy ran away as soon as he heard his words. Unlike Ace, he experienced it countless times, even his rubber body couldn't lessen the pain. Ha ha ha. Blaze laughed. Don't know why, he seems to enjoy messing with these two little brats. He's a monster like Grandpa. Ace stood up, dusted his clothes, and quietly left the area. Night. Blaze rested outside before a fire pit while Garp spent time with his grandsons. After some time, Garp came to meet him. He knew the latter wants to ask about his haki as they increased way too quickly. And, as he expected, Garp asked, how did your haki advance so quickly? Blaze pondered with a serious expression and replied, talent, maybe. You brat, stop messing around. Tell me. I don't know. I learned haki and trained harder. Aside from that, I didn't do anything. Blaze answered. Okay. Show me your full strength, don't hold back. Garp said and rose to his feet. Let's go somewhere else. Good. Blaze also stood up. He knew Garp is strong, but not the exact depth. Now, he got the opportunity to test it. Both of them walked deep into the forest, far away from Dodon's house. Picking a good spot, Blaze faced Garp. But the latter still seemed as carefree as he knows. Balling his fist, Blaze coated them with haki. He didn't hold back, he punched at Garp with his complete strength. Boom! The sheer power of the attack destroyed everything in the surroundings and influenced the air itself, blasting a huge shockwave in the form of a fist. The air pressure that took the form of a fist assaulted Garp, who stood in his place. Finally, Garp made his move. Coating his arms with haki, he threw a punch of his own. Clash! The two fists collided in midair, creating a booming sound that shook the entire Don Island. Dark clouds appeared over their location while lightning flashed around, the result of the clash between two haki users. But Blaze was shocked when he noticed Garp's air fist destroying his attack and ravaged forward, towards him. He cursed, "Fuck." Bracing for the attack, Blaze swiftly reeled his arm back and punched again that collided in time. Even so, he failed to stop Garp's overwhelming punch. It bulldozed its way forward and smashed his face, pulverizing his entire being into the ground. Blaze didn't get up from the ground but simply looked at the sky and wondered, is he taking revenge because I bullied his grandsons? Nothing has changed. He's the real monster. How strong is Garp really? Chapter 87, Purpose of Life. The shockwave and the resulting impact destroyed everything around them, nothing remained. Everything within a 1-kilometer radius was razed to the ground. Blaze's entire body ached. It took a moment for his cracked bones and ripped muscles to heal completely. If not for his formidable physique, he would have been injured heavily. He's definitely trying to kill me. I should have used Tekai, Blaze thought and rose to his feet while dusting himself off. Unknown to him, Garp was shocked by the incredible strength Blaze had shown and the powerful physique he possesses. Incredible. His strength reached the threshold of admirals. Garp came to his conclusion only after taking Blaze's devil fruit ability into consideration. His strength rose too quickly. What should we do? Unlike other Marines, Blaze developed on his own without getting any help. In fact, he only got punished for being moral and standing on the side of innocence. So, Garp doesn't know whether Blaze still believes in Marines and has a sense of belonging. Because stronger one's haki, stronger their will and firmer their belief. I need to talk with Sengoku, Garp decided. Next day, Blaze and Garp left the mountain, leaving Luffy in the care of Curly Dodon. Garp is going to the headquarters while Blaze too plans on leaving Fuchsia village today and visit other islands of East Blue. Still, Garp wanted him to come and check on Ace and Luffy when he has free time. Blaze agreed. After that, Blaze said goodbye to Makino and other villagers he acquainted with, before departing with his unit. Unknown to him, Garp, who reached the marine headquarters, went to meet Sengoku. They had a serious discussion concerning Blaze. Garp, are you telling the truth? Sengoku raised his eyebrows. Sengoku, do you think I would joke on matters such as this? Garp solemnly replied. But how? I don't know, he didn't tell me. If we continue to punish him, there's a chance of him leaving the Marines. You don't want to lose him, Garp said. Sengoku knew Blaze's personality well. He may seem rebellious but he's true to his heart and had a strong sense of justice. It's just he won't listen when it comes to certain things. Considering his current strength, it can be overlooked. Looking at Garp, he said, I will talk to Kong-san. Kong is still the fleet admiral, so Sengoku can't decide on this matter since Blaze was punished directly by the former. Garp nodded his head. Days passed. Though Blaze's strength reached a certain level, it didn't stop him from training further. He's currently trying to perfect the haki emission under armament haki. He mastered the concept of projecting his haki flow from his body without a medium, but he was unhappy with the result and want to further improve them. A good example is Old Man Magnus' display of his haki. He was able to control the objects with his haki without touching them, similar to telekinesis. But it's too advanced for him. Aside from this, Blaze is also training on the internal destruction concept, letting haki flows inside a target and destroys it from the inside out. He's having fun practicing the advanced concept. In the meantime, Regis and Rosinante got proficient in the haki concept. They can use basic level observation and armament haki. Though everything's been going smooth, Blaze began to feel a sense of loss and boredom after a month. It happened suddenly. A thought came to him. Why did he have to stay in the East Blue? His dream is to become the strongest man in the world, but staying in East Blue won't lead him anywhere. Only countless challenges and near-death battle experience would help him. He respects some of the Marines and their sense of justice. If not for them, the world would have been completely ravaged by pirates and wars. It's what's stopping him from quitting the Marines. Moreover, Sengoku helped him during his desperate time while Garp and other Marines treated him well. He can't betray their trust and just leave like that, but everything has a limit. It's also the reason why he revealed his strength, hoping the Marines would lift his punishment. Blaze plans on waiting for some time and wants to see what the Marines would do. If they hellbent on keeping his punishment, then he will be forced to make a decision. As if hearing his thoughts, a new order came from the Marine headquarters a few days after Garp left. He was once again promoted to the rank of Marine Captain and appointed as the commander of the Logetown base. In a sense, he's the highest-ranking officer in East Blue now. It didn't affect Blaze in any way. After accepting his position, he returned to his old lifestyle. Months passed by as Blaze roamed the East Blue. He almost visited every island inhabited by humans. East Blue is vast, but only a few islands are occupied by humans whilst others are unsettled. He visited Shimasuki village where Zoro and Kuna reside, where he saw both of them training hard. Zoro trained hard to beat Kuna while the latter trained to become the strongest woman so that she can inherit her father's dojo. He visited Kokoyashi village and saw Nami and Nojiko who live with Belmir. Blaze even went to the Usopp's hometown located in Gecko Islands. At first, Blaze just wandered aimlessly while he even stopped training as if he lost the drive, but as he traveled to more places and met different people, he began to understand something. Especially the One Piece characters that he likes so much, Usopp, Nami, Zoro, Kuna, and some on other islands. When he saw their childhood, heard their dreams, and felt their determination, a spark formed in his heart. In this world, everyone has a story of their own and it's incredible to see them put effort to achieve it. How to say, they had a sense of purpose. But Blaze, he had nothing. Sure, he dreams of becoming the strongest man in the world, but there's no purpose in it. The purpose of life is the innermost desire of what one wants to become, unlike dreams. The sudden finding struck his heart. No wonder, I have been feeling a sense of loss recently. It's the reason. Blaze knew the reason. Unlike the others, he was suddenly transmigrated into a whole new world and was forced to strive for something. The drive to escape from the clutches of pirates and to become stronger clouded the need to seek the purpose of his life. Now, he realized it. For the first time in his life, he experienced something that can't be taught by others. A new path opened when he believed that he reached the end. Chapter 88, Shimotsuki Village. 6 months passed. Current timeline, 1513, first month. Many things happened around the world in these short 6 months. Admiral Sengoku has been appointed as the new Fleet Admiral of the Marines, while the previous Fleet Admiral Kong has been promoted as World Government's Commander-in-Chief. Aside from this, many Marine old-timers who were in service from Roger's era retired one by one. The young and capable people with strong justice took their place. A good example is Sakazuki, who was recently promoted to the rank of Admiral and was given the title Admiral Akainu. It was talk of the town among the Marine soldiers. There's also a rumor among the Marines that Vice Admiral Kuzan and Borsalino will soon be promoted to the ranks of admirals. Another major event is regarding the infamous Fisher Tiger who climbed Red Line and freed the world noble slaves. He was ambushed by Marine soldiers and lost his life due to blood loss. This news caused an uproar among the people and Fishman. All the Fishmen grieved his death as he was considered as the hero. Reading this news, Blaze sighed. Fisher Tiger is a good soul, but his heart yearned for freedom and death as he lost the meaning of life after his experience as a slave. In a way, death is the truest freedom to him. After that, Jinbe succeeded Tiger's position and became the captain of the Sun Pirates. Not long after, he accepted the world government's offer and became a warlord of the sea. When it comes to East Blue, none of these major news affected them in any way except for one, World Nobel and Celestial Dragon Jalmax's visit to the Goa Kingdom. It's been days since he visited and left the East Blue, but this topic was still talked about among people. But what none of them knew is, what happened in the Goa Kingdom before Jalmax's visit, the burning of the Grey Terminal. Since the Goa Kingdom is under world government, the Marines can't intervene in their actions without their permission even if they want to. He visited Luffy and Ace after the incident as he knew they were devastated by Sabo's death. He also met Sabo when he came with Garp, 3 months back. Only he knew Sabo is alive. Today, Blaze received the good news that he always wanted to hear. He was called back to the headquarters and he doesn't have to stay in the East Blue anymore. He knew once Sengoku took charge as Fleet Admiral he will be called back. Sengoku didn't disappoint him. Finally, I can enter the new world. Right now, Blaze is in Shimotsuki Village, the hometown of Kuna and Zoro. He was here the past 5 days. Before leaving East Blue, he wants to bring Kuna with him and prevent her death. But, he can't take her away before the last duel between Zoro and Kuna. It needs to happen. Kuna was a formidable child prodigy in swordsmanship, being the best student of the Ishin dojo. Despite her young age, she could overpower even adults in a sword fight. Even Zoro, who's considered a genius in the way of swordsmanship, can't defeat her. Hell, Kuna can defeat Zoro with a single sword attack. Because of Zoro's rivalry with her, she too trains harder so that she won't lose. Right now, Zoro and Kuna have fought nearly 2,000 times. Soon, Zoro will challenge her into fighting with real swords. Still, Kuna is someone who was always living with the knowledge that since she was a woman, it would only get harder as she got older for her to compete with men. She was afraid and weak in her heart because of it. Only after her battle with Zoro, she will regain her spirit. If Blaze is not wrong, it will happen tomorrow. Blaze's marine ship was docked on the shore near Shimotsuki Village. He got acquainted with Kuna and Zoro when he first visited them 6 months back. Both of them know that he's a marine captain. Many in the world have a bad opinion of Marines because of certain things and being a lapdog of the world government. So, both of them won't interact much with him. But, his 6 days stay here increased the communication between them. All he did was, he showed them swordplay. He's not a swordsman, but he at least knows some simple sword techniques that he observed of Shanks. Kuna was aloof and exudes an arrogant demeanor, but on the inside, she's soft. For her age, she's really powerful, both physically and in terms of sword mastery. She's just 11 years old and looked the same as shown in the series. As for Zoro, he's a tough nut and simpleton. Kuna, how many times has Zoro lost to you till today? 1999. If he loses another, it will be 2000. When she said it, there's a smile at the corner of her lips. Zoro, who was training his body a little away from them, replied immediately after hearing her words. I will win the next fight. You said the same thing before all our fight, but you still lose. Kuna retorted. Come on, Kuna. You have to praise Zoro for his strong heart. He has never beaten you but he still says that he will win, you have to learn from him. Kuna just turned her head. She thought of something and asked Blaze, Blaze-san, can women truly become powerful as you said? Yes. Can you tell me about the big mom that you mentioned before and how powerful she is? Kuna asked with interest. Blaze sighed hearing her question. Kuna asked this question more than 100 times and he answered her every time. It's just she didn't believe it and thinks he was just bluffing her. Blaze knew whatever he says won't reach her heart at the moment. Oh, it's Marine Captain Blaze again, how are you doing? At that moment, a voice came over and a person decked in yukata approached him from distance. He's none other Kuna's father, Koshiro. Blaze bowed his head lightly in a way to greet and spoke, Swordmaster Koshiro? I am doing well, how about you? Koshiro nodded his head, I want to have some words in pirate with you, shall we walk and talk? Sure. Zoro, Kuna, stay here. Then, Blaze and Koshiro walked along the shoreline. Koshiro initiated the conversation, Mr. Blaze, can I ask why do you approach Kuna and your purpose of stay here? Chapter 89, Kuna. Blaze smiled at Koshiro's straightforward question, it didn't come as a surprise. He knew his movements were constantly monitored after his arrival at the Shimatsuki village. He also sensed a powerful presence in the village. It's not Koshiro, if Blaze isn't wrong it should be Shimatsuki Kozaburo, Kuna's grandfather. Kuna is a determined girl with a strong heart. She's someone who was born for greatness, I can't bear to see her talent getting destroyed. Blaze answered. Hearing Blaze's words Koshiro surprised for a moment and asked, Kuna's doing great, why do you think like that? Mr. Koshiro, I don't know whether you realized it or not but Kuna's going through a tough time as she already began to doubt herself. If no one guides her even now, she will end up in a worse state. I don't understand. Koshiro looked at Blaze. He didn't doubt his words as his father informed him that Blaze isn't a simple person. Let me explain in simple words. I have observed Kuna for a few days and knew about the rivalry between her and Zoro. But, we both know it won't be long before Zoro overwhelms her in terms of strength. Koshiro interrupted. Kuna knew it too. She's a sensible girl. That's the problem. The day she loses to Zoro, is the day her heart dies. A person's strength comes from one's spirit, not by their body. But, you taught her saying that women can't defeat grown men. It was deeply engraved in her heart. So, if she ever gets defeated in the future she would always think it's because she's a woman. Eventually, she will lose her drive to train and get stronger. Blaze shook his head. Koshiro stopped in his tracks as if he was struck by lightning. He mumbled to himself. Am I the reason? Seeing his reaction, Blaze quickly spoke. Please don't take my words to heart. You were raised in such a way that men are superior to women. And, it's not too late. Kuna's heart needs training. Only by traveling and seeing the vast world that she can break the shackles that bind her existence. I don't know Kuna's going through such pain. Kuna said that her dream is to become the world's strongest swordsman and inherit the Ishind dojo. It's not going to be easy. I admire her passion. I want to accept her as a marine apprentice but if she rejects my proposal I won't force her. Blaze expressed his thoughts. I sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart. If Kuna agrees to leave with you, I won't stop her. Koshiro slightly bowed his head. The next day, the fateful event happened. In the training dojo, Zoro challenged Kuna for the 2000th time but he still lost to Kuna in one move. You are still weak, Zoro. Later that night, a frustrated Zoro challenged Kuna to fight him with a real sword and said it will be their last fight. Kuna accepted his challenge. Blaze watched everything from a distance. Zoro used 2 swords while Kuna used a single sword, Wado Ikemonji. They fought but Zoro once again lost while Kuna claimed her 2001st victory against him. After the duel was over, Kuna broke down in tears. She had concluded that Zoro would soon pass her in skill and strength. He had already caught up to her current skills. It further confirmed her belief that boys grow up to be stronger than girls. My father told me that a girl can never become the world's strongest, Kuna spoke, looking at the sky. Hearing her words, Zoro got angry. You can't say that after beating me, it's not fair. If I ever beat you in the future, it's because of my skills not because I am a boy. Promise me, someday, one of us will be the world's strongest swordsman. We will compete to see who gets there. Wiping her tears away, Kuna accepted Zoro's challenge. Blaze smiled watching their interaction. Finally, the vow has been made. After the promise, Zoro left while Kuna sat alone thinking something, looking at the star-filled sky. But, the sudden voice startled her. It was a good fight. Blaze appeared before her. Seeing it's Blaze, Kuna relaxed. Blaze-san, you were watching the fight. Yes. Do you know why you have the feeling that Zoro's getting stronger while you remain the same? It's because I am a girl. No. It's because you already started thinking in your heart that you will eventually lose to Zoro. You can't hope to get stronger without putting any effort. Blaze told. But, Kuna once again cried. You don't have to say anything. Let me ask you, do you want to become the strongest swordsman? Yes, Kuna answered firmly. Then, you have to leave this place and enter Grand Line. Leave the village. Kuna hesitated. She can't bear to leave her parents and friends. Kuna, you are caught in the shadow of Zoro. It's not good for you to stay here. If you don't want to be defeated by Zoro, you have to make this choice. No one can force you on this. It's up to you to decide. Blaze's words struck Kuna's heart. It's what she's afraid of the most, losing to Zoro. What should I do? What I suggest you is, join the Marines under my command and travel the world. There, you can face countless swordsmen better than you. And, I already talked to your father. Whatever your decision is, he will respect it. If you feel confused, you can talk with him. Blaze explained. Kuna thought for a moment and said, I will talk to father. Good. I will be leaving tomorrow, so make the decision quicker. Blaze nodded his head. After that, Kuna left and walked towards the dojo. Blaze followed without altering her. If he's not wrong, she will return to place her sword where she will trip and die. But, it didn't happen. Kuna directly went to visit her father while Blaze waited outside. After 30 minutes, she came out with a determined decision while her eyes were firm. Carrying the Wado Ikimonji, she went to sleep. Unlike in the original, she didn't go anywhere so nothing happened. Even so, Blaze watched her over her the entire night. In case, if something happens. The sun rose as the next day arrived. Nothing happened to Kuna, who woke up as usual, meaning, she escaped the misfortune. After getting freshened up and packing some things, Kuna informed her parents about her decision. She planned to leave the village to get stronger. Before leaving the village, she met Zoro and gave him the Wado Ikimonji. Zoro, I will get the sword back after I defeat you as an adult. Zoro didn't understand what Kuna was saying. She didn't explain. After saying goodbye to her friends, she came to meet Blaze and told her decision. Seeing her all packed up, all set to go. Yes. Okay, let's go. Blaze then brought her to the ship and informed Regis to set sail to Marine headquarters. She's coming with us. Rosinante asked, noticing Kuna. Yes. Blaze-san, we are going back after nearly 2 years. I am excited. Regis grinned. Blaze too smiled. Chapter 90, Regis vs Kuna. First half of Grand Line. A standard marine ship sailed through the sea while the morning sunlight and clear blue brought a fresh atmosphere to the ship. The new day started. There are not many people on the ship, only 20-some marine soldiers including Blaze, Kuna, Rosinante, and Regis. Right now, Regis and Kuna stood face to face on the ship deck with their swords pointed at one another. Meanwhile, Rosinante, Blaze, and other marine soldiers spectate. Kuna had a confident look on her face as this isn't her first time facing an adult. She had crushed countless people like Regis before. In fact, she wanted to fight Blaze. A few minutes before, she went to ask Blaze to fight her or teach the sword skills, but the latter refused. Blaze's words were simple. Find Regis. If you can defeat him, I will teach you advanced sword skills. That brings Kuna and Regis to the current situation. When Kuna went to look for Regis, he still hadn't gotten up. Even now, Regis had sleepy look and yawned from time to time. Kuna, can't we do this later? I hadn't slept well last night due to the storm. Regis pleaded. No, I have to defeat you, only then Captain Blaze will teach me sword skills. Kuna replied. Regis, play with her for a minute. You can sleep later. Don't use haki and rokushiki, use only your sword skills. Blaze stated while Regis nodded. Kuna, you can start. As soon as Blaze uttered, Kuna lunged forward with her sword and slashed at Regis. Facing the slash, Regis simply avoided it by sidestepping to his left, and with the hilt of his sword, he hit Kuna's back with minimal force. Thump. As Kuna was already rushing forward, the jab disrupted her pace. She lost her footing and before she could react, her face was inches away from hitting the ground. Before her mind could react, her body responded thanks to her hard training. She skillfully rotated her body and with a thrust of her left hand, she sprang back to her feet. Kuna perspired. They only exchanged one blow but she was already forced to her limit. Holding the hilt of the sword with both her hands, Kuna once again rushed at Regis and slashed horizontally. Unlike last time, the force behind her attack doubled as he used both hands. An impressive way to increase the power of the strike. It's just it won't work against Regis, who's an experienced fighter and master swordsman. In a swift motion, Regis lifted his sword and slashed with the rotation of his wrist. The slash gathered the wind around his blade and created a pressurized air. Instead of the sharp side of the blade, Regis used the blunt side so that Kuna won't be hurt by the sharpness. In short, the slash only had the power, not sharpness. The violent gust of wind knocked the sword away from Kuna and struck her stomach. The force behind the attack threw her back as she crashed into the ship's side. Kuna coughed violently as she struggled to breathe and it took a few seconds for her to calm down. The wind slash completely crushed her. And, that wind blade created from a sword completely awed her. It's the first time for her to witness something like that. Kuna clutched her stomach in pain and rose to her feet. She looked at Regis in surprise. She didn't expect Regis to be this powerful. She knew there may be a gap between her and skilled swordsmen but not this much. She began to understand the meaning behind Blaze's words. At that moment, Blaze spoke. Kuna, learn to accept the truth before your eyes. In this vast sea, you are just another being with a sword. At your current strength, any random pirate with a sword can kill you in a single strike. He then looked at Regis. Regis, from today onwards you are responsible for her training. I want to see her defeat you in pure sword skills in a short time. Regis was blanked for a moment. Captain, are you asking me to teach her so that she can defeat me sooner? Yes. Is there any problem? Blaze nonchalantly asked. Blaze's acceptance hurt Regis further. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Blaze-san, I am not talented but you can't embarrass me in front of a child. I'm sorry Regis, since your strength shows no sign of improvement I thought Kuna will soon surpass you. If you want to refute my claim, improve your strength. Otherwise, you will definitely be overtaken by Kuna. Hearing his words, Kuna smiled while a proud look surfaced on her face. On the other hand, Regis looked like a deflated balloon. Blaze then called Rosinante and walked towards his cabin. Since they are entering the Grand Line, he wants to discuss some things regarding Doflamingo. Doflamingo will come looking for him once he comes to know about Rosinante and his location. The only reason why he hadn't attacked him till now is because of constant pursuit by the Marines. Of course, even if he comes looking for Blaze, he can't do much and may get beaten instead. As Blaze left with Rosinante, Kuna went to talk with Regis. She wants to know more about the outside world and how strong the people are. Regis didn't hold back in his information as he's considered her teacher. He described the outline of the world, various powers, and the current pirate era. East Blue is fairly a peaceful sea, so there's not much you may have seen. But, in Grand Line battle happens all the time while countless people lose their lives every minute. Since the number of pirates is overwhelming, the Marines are finding it hard to stop them. Regis reminisced his past while a sad look flashed past his eyes. Before I joined Blaze Captain, I was in a different unit. But, suddenly one day our unit was slaughtered as we encountered a strong pirate crew. Only a few survived and I escaped because my friend sacrificed his life to save me. I haven't told many people about this, so don't share it with others. Kuna had a hard time accepting the cruel facts and she didn't know how to react, whether to comfort Regis or say something. Moreover, she couldn't accept the fact that even someone as strong as Regis was beaten by a pirate. Seeing her look, Regis laughed. Don't worry about it, Kuna. The current me is different from the past. After coming under Blaze-san, I improved while my strength rose to a whole new level. The current me can single-handedly defeat the entire pirate crew. It's my luck to be placed under the Blaze-san's unit. Only then it dawned on Kuna that she didn't know much about Blaze. She curiously asked, how strong is Captain Blaze then? Chapter 91, Visiting Old Man Magnus. How strong is Blaze-san? Regis pondered. Recently, he hadn't witnessed Blaze display his strength, so he wasn't sure of it. Still, what he knew for sure is, Blaze is countless times more powerful than him, as he heard from Rosinante about what happened in the North Blue. I don't know how strong Blaze-san is exactly, but I am sure he can crush me with a single punch, Regis answered Kuna. Hearing it, Kuna's worldview collapsed. She thought Regis is powerful, but it seems like Blaze is the true monster. Without her knowing, her mindset began to change, in a good direction. Next day, Blaze's marine ship is just a few hours away from reaching the marine headquarters. But before going there, he wants to visit Old Man Magnus once again. Blaze learned many things from Magnus, not just haki. In the One Piece world, he has no family or relatives, but Magnus is one of the very few he holds important in his heart. Getting out of his cabin, he saw Regis and Kuna practicing. Regis had a sleepy look while Kuna had an eager expression. As he expected, Kuna is the same as Zoro, determined and extremely hard-working. As for Rosinante, he's very lazy and carefree, so he should be sleeping right now. Regis, I will be back in an hour. Saying this, Blaze leaped from the ship. Regis didn't question where he was going as he knew some things shouldn't be asked. Hovering in midair, Blaze utilized his devil fruit ability under the watchful eyes of Regis and Kuna. Golden energy erupted from his body, transforming into a monstrous creature. Regis and Kuna stood shocked, staring at the incredible display of power. What stood before their eyes is none other than the mystical existence, dragon. Unlike Kaido's serpent-like and wingless dragon form, what Blaze actualized is different and looked a little threatening. It was huge, translucent, bat-winged, and had a scaly lizard form. Gulping a little, Regis and Kuna gaped at the golden dragon and at Blaze, who stood on the dragon's back. Waving his hand, Blaze patted the dragon that took off under his command. Unlike the real one, his dragon is formed of solar energy and runs under his command. Blaze just wants to show off his power to Kuna and motivate her further. From the looks of it, he achieved it. In no time, Blaze disappeared from Regis and Kuna's line of sight. They still stood like statues, unable to digest what they just saw. Well, Kuna, yesterday you asked how strong Blaze-san is, right? There you go. Regis spoke. Regis-san, that looked like a dragon, but it's a little different from what I read, Kuna asked. As a descendant of the Shimatsuki family, she heard things about dragons. For the starters, it's not a real dragon. It's something formed by Blaze-san's devil fruit power. Regis shook his head and answered. It didn't take long for Blaze to reach the fume-covered volcanic island where Old Man Magnus stays. When Magnus saw Blaze, he was genuinely surprised. With his observation haki, he noticed Blaze's presence is too bright and vibrant. You have become strong, your haki looks more refined and powerful, Magnus commented. I may have become stronger, but it's nowhere near my goal, Blaze replied as he knew better. True. Since your dream is to become the strongest man in the world, you need to improve further. Magnus nodded his head. Blaze looked at Old Man Magnus and sighed. He could see the latter's life energy has faded further. It won't be long before he passes away. If he's not wrong, he doesn't even have 2 years. Seeing through Blaze's thoughts, Magnus spoke. I have lived enough. And, I have seen and experienced that normal people only dream, joy, sorrow, betrayal, love, strength, weakness, and much more. Only at death one gains true freedom. Still, don't you want to see me stand at the peak of this world one day? Blaze asked. I don't have to. I know you will do it. You are special. Old Man Magnus smiled. Blaze then chatted with Magnus for an hour before saying his farewell. He knew it's their last meeting. Magnus too said not to visit him again. Blaze will respect his decision as it's his wish. When he prepared to leave, Magnus spoke. Blaze, don't become proud or arrogant. Even if you become stronger, there are still people in the world who can kill you. You are still young, so take your time and raise your influence. It won't be easy to break away the Marines from world government control. Once they know your intention, they will come for you. Be careful. I will. Acknowledging his words, Blaze left the island without saying goodbye. He didn't want to. Old man Magnus looked at Blaze's disappearing back with slightly moist eyes. Live well? Don't die sooner. Blaze reached his ship that's just an hour away from arriving at the headquarters. After a long time, he's going back. Many things have changed. Sengoku succeeded in the position of Fleet Admiral of the Marines while Sakazuki, Kuzan, and Borsalino have become the admirals. The entire top order of the Marine Order has changed. Exceptional Marine soldiers have been promoted to the ranks of commodores and captain, while some rear admirals raised to the ranks of vice admirals. It may be the reason why the entire Marine headquarters is overflowing with positive energy and numerous Marine soldiers packed the shore, waiting to be dispatched. Blaze just smiled at the scene while Regis is surprised at change, but Kuna was entirely stunned viewing the thousands of Marines. She was sure that any one of them here can take her out effortlessly. Kuna at this moment knows it's the best decision that she had ever made in her life, to leave the Shimatsuki village. Zoro, I promise, I won't ever let you surpass me. Regis, take Kuna and register her as a Marine trainee under my command. If anyone asks, you can use my special code. Once I finish my business, I will call you. Blaze then went to meet the new Fleet Admiral of the Marines. Chapter 92, Back to Marine Headquarters. Fleet Admiral Office. Not anyone can meet Fleet Admiral of the Marines, but Blaze has this privilege. Walking into the office, he saw Sengoku. To his surprise, there was another person inside the office, newly promoted Admiral, Kuzan. Seeing him, Sengoku squinted his eyes a little and nodded. As soon as he saw Blaze, he knew Garp didn't exaggerate. His strength really reached the threshold of admirals. The most shocked one is Kuzan. He could feel a sense of danger radiating from Blaze, and it means the latter's strength is close to his. It's not even 2 years. How did he develop his haki to such extent? Should I wait outside, Sengoku-san? Blaze asked. No, come and have a seat. You came at the right time. We were discussing important. Sengoku gestured for him to sit. Seating next to Kuzan, he spoke. I'm feeling nervous sitting next to an admiral. Hearing his words, Kuzan didn't show any reaction while Sengoku reprimanded him. You brat, drop the act, as we both knew how strong you have become. Considering your strength, you may have been promoted to the ranks of vice admiral if not for your stubbornness. It's in my nature. Blaze shrugged. Sengoku waved his hand and spoke. Let's get back to the topic. Blaze, we were discussing the speed pirates. Have you heard of them before? Blaze turned serious and replied, I know about them but not in detail, just their bounties and names. Speed pirates were not in the original timeline but in the current timeline. They are considered as one of the great pirates of the sea. And they have a territory of their own in the New World. The speed pirates originated from Grand Line and were led by their captain, Speed, whom the pirate crew is named after. As for why the captain is called Speed, is because he's a devil fruit user who ate Soko no Mi speed fruit. Aside from him, there's another man in Speed Pirates who's as strong as Speed, his brother, Luke. He's also a devil fruit user who ate Kilo fruit. Both of them are very dangerous as they had a bounty of over 1 billion, individually. With over 300 pirates under their command, they are really one of the great pirates of the New World. A pirate crew is called a great pirate when their captain or someone in their crew's bounty crosses the 1 billion bounty mark. Unlike in the original timeline, the concept of Yonko hasn't been introduced yet. All the strong pirates have now called the great pirates. If Blaze isn't wrong, in another 1 or 2 years the world government will introduce the concept. Blaze knew why the world government has to grant the Yonko title. It is to create chaos and at the same time, balance the power structure of the new world. The Yonko concept will definitely create friction among the pirates as none of these great pirates want to be treated inferior to others. The result will be, they will fight among themselves and destroy each other. A great plan from world government to contain the pirates growing in the new world. It's just Blaze doesn't know when it will happen. Right now, the new world is extremely chaotic with dangerous pirates roaming them with no rules. Musing, Blaze looked at Sengoku. There should be a reason why the latter wants to talk about them. Sengoku spoke. A month ago speed pirates attacked a kingdom affiliated under world government and killed many nobles along with the countless citizens. Though the kingdom nobles aren't celestial dragons, they have high status. So, we sent an admiral at that time. But what we didn't expect is total defeat. The speed pirates sunk 3 marine battleships and even heavily injured the former admiral who's forced to retire from the marines. Anger could be seen on Sengoku's face. After the battle, the speed pirates were staying low so we couldn't find their location. Just yesterday, we confirmed their location. According to the intelligence, their ships were spotted near Green Hill Island. I want them apprehended or killed. I don't care about the process. I am appointing you both for this task. Blaze, listen to Kuzan's orders on this one. Since Sengoku finished his speech, it's time for him and Kuzan to leave the office and plan the next course of action. At that moment, Sengoku spoke again. Blaze, tell Rosinante to come and meet me. Sure. Coming out of the office, Blaze spoke. I thought I could laze around for a few more days before visiting the new world. It's not possible anymore. Kuzan-san, congratulations on becoming an admiral. When are you going to give me the treat? Kuzan still has a lazy attitude. He looked weirdly at Blaze and spoke. First, remove the honorifics. Just Kuzan will do, as you are as strong as me. Blaze didn't dare to take the compliment. There's still a gap between us. Without minding his words, Kuzan spoke again. As for the treat, I don't remember us being too familiar. Let's talk about the speed pirates. I am planning on confronting them in 2 days. I will inform you once the preparations are complete. Be ready. Yawning a little, Kuzan walked away while waving his hands at him. Chapter 93, Visiting Zephyr. Blaze returned to his ship as he doesn't have an office of his own in Marine headquarters. Only Rosinante and other soldiers were on board while Regis and Kuna haven't returned yet. He wanted to meet Garp but heard the latter is on leave. Reaching the ship, Blaze informed Rosinante that Sengoku wants to meet him. Hearing it, Rosinante grew nervous. After all, he did betray Sengoku and stole the Ope no Mi. Though he talked to Sengoku after that incident, it was through Den Mushi, but meeting face to face is different. Walking next to him, Blaze patted his shoulder, understanding his thoughts. What are you being afraid of? He's not going to bite you. You made a mistake and it's time for you to face it. Yes, Rosinante agreed and went to meet Sengoku. Unlike in the original series, Rosinante disregarded his usual makeup. Now, he was clothed in a standard marine uniform and looked a little handsome with golden hair. He's totally changed both in terms of appearance and strength. There's a 2-day gap before they set out for the new world to catch the speed pirates. In the meantime, Blaze plans to visit Zephyr-sensei. Though his haki is formidable, he struggles to master the advanced haki concept. There's some problem with the way he trains. Only Zephyr can solve his problem in a short time, as he's a great teacher. Without a doubt, Old Man Magnus is a formidable person, but he isn't that good at teaching others. In fact, he asked the latter about his problem yesterday, but he's clueless. After 15 minutes, Regis and Kuna returned. Kuna has officially become a marine trainee under his command. After informing Kuzan, Blaze set sail towards the training island where Zephyr is, along with Regis and Kuna. As for Rosinante, he can only stay at headquarters. It didn't take long. Blaze's ship reached the training island after 4 hours of sailing. Regis knows about this place as he also completed his training here, but for Kuna, it's her first time. Blaze also thought of letting Kuna train here for some time, but he soon rejected the idea. Real battles are more efficient than training in one place. He has the confidence that he can guide Kuna better. Reaching the island, Blaze smelled the fresh and familiar air. He has come back after more than 2 years, but nothing changed here. Everything is the same. The sight of marine trainees training in the field under the watchful eyes of instructors and Zephyr-sensei, who was surveying the entire training program. Zephyr-sensei, how are you doing? Walking next to Zephyr, Blaze asked. Zephyr noticed Blaze's arrival. With his arms crossed, he glanced at Blaze and spoke. It seems like Sengoku lifted your punishment. Blaze chuckled. Sensei, you were following my deeds? I'm embarrassed now. Do you need to ask? I look after every marine soldier who graduates from here. Unlike other marine officers, I didn't teach you much aside from the Rokushiki martial arts. Still, I know you are talented and will eventually achieve something big. It's just with your character, it won't be easy. Hearing it, Blaze was surprised as he didn't expect Zephyr would have a high opinion of him. Zephyr continued. I know, you have suffered many times for doing something good, but that's how the world is, full of injustice. We had to deal with it. If it's someone in your place, they may have deflected or left the Marines. But, you didn't change. That's what I admire in you, resolute and firm in what you do. Blaze flushed at Zephyr's praise. Sensei, I think you are overpraising me. No, in this cruel world, only your strength speaks for yourself. Considering your current strength, you are qualified for my praise. Okay, since you are here, why don't you inspire the new recruits with your words? Zephyr suddenly asked. Before Blaze could decline, Zephyr shouted. Everyone, gather here. The training recruits and other instructors in the field also gathered around. Let me introduce you, Marine Headquarters Captain, Blaze. He joined Marines a few years ago and trained here for around a year before joining the duty. He's like you all, the only difference is he's still alive and kicking. That's because he's countless times stronger than you all. Being in the sea for years, he encountered many pirates. If you have any questions, you can ask him. Even if you want to have a small bout with him, he wouldn't mind. Zephyr introduced. The Marine recruits were excited to meet their senior, but many were skeptical because of how young Blaze looked. Unlike them, the officers and instructors were stunned finally recognizing Blaze. They remembered the conflict between him and Sakazuki and how the latter nearly killed him. It was the most discussed topic of that time. After that, they heard he was demoted and transferred to 4 Seas where there's no career growth. All of them thought it was such a pity, but they slowly forget Blaze's name due to the passage of time. But now, he once again came back. Most thought it's over for Blaze as he already offended Admiral Sakazuki before. Only someone like Zephyr knows how incorrect the statement is. Meanwhile, Blaze scrutinized the Marine recruits who were standing in an orderly manner. He was like them when he came here, full of spirit and eager to improve himself. Remembering the days, his eyes casually swept past the recruits, but they suddenly stopped as he spotted 2 familiar figures, Smoker and Hina. It was just for a second and he didn't show it on his face. Stepping forward, Blaze spoke. I stood where you all standing now and I sweated as much as you are doing now. And, none of you are anyway inferior to me. Hard work and the amount of effort you make determine what you will become in the future. Let's skip the boring part and move on to the interesting stuff. I have met countless pirates, some are dangerous and sly who won't hesitate to take your life. What to do when you confront one? Blaze stopped at this point and seeing the glowing eyes of the recruits he continued, I will now show some simple fighting techniques, tricks, and how to have better control over your physical strength. I need a volunteer, who's willing? Chapter 94, Smoker and Hacky Nature. When Blaze asked who's willing, Smoker responded first followed by Hina and other marine recruits. Blaze smiled observing Smoker and gestured with his hand. You, one with the cigar in your mouth. Come forward. Smoker looked the same as shown in the series, serious and gruff but just a little younger. He should be around 22 or 23. The funny thing is, he's even older than Blaze in terms of age. Blaze saw the arrogance in his eyes. It's engraved in his bones because of his inherent strength and power granted by his smoke devil fruit power. Smoker is someone with a rebellious attitude and does as he please just like him, so Blaze didn't mind his attitude. He asked, "What's your name?" Smoker. Fitting name. Come at me with your full strength as if you would engage a pirate. Blaze spoke and gestured for him to attack. Zephyr and the other instructors didn't say anything and watched from the sidelines. Meanwhile, the other marine recruits watched the play with interest. None of the marine recruits at the training camp are rookies. Most of them are drafted into camp after much consideration. Their strength, performance, and other factors were taken into account. Among them, Smoker is the best. He is a formidable combatant who fought pirates before, coupled with physical strength and devil fruit ability. None of the recruits is his match. So, they want to see how the marine captain who was younger than them will fare against him. Some even thought Blaze isn't Smoker's match. As soon as Blaze gestured, Smoker attacked. White spark. Transforming his whole body into a cloud of dense smoke, he charged at Blaze. As he neared, he balled his right arm and fired it forward as a punch. Blaze didn't expect Smoker would directly attack him with his strongest attack, and he even utilized his devil fruit ability. It seems like he neither respects me nor my rank. Should I teach him some manners? Well, I did say to him to attack with his full strength. Blaze pondered as he welcomed the attack. He didn't try to evade, just used his tech-high skill. The strike rammed at his chest. The smoke behind the attack tried to push him back, but none of it worked as the attack is very weak. Blaze stood like a mountain without any change. Moku Moku no Mi is a formidable Logia devil fruit, but it's wasted on someone as weak as you. His words riled Smoker up, who grew angry and rained punches on him. Of course, none of it affected Blaze in any way. He simply stood with his arms crossed while shaking his head. It's what happens when you charge at a pirate without knowing what your opponent is capable of. My lesson is simple: don't ever think that you are strong and others are weak. It will lead to your doom. When encountering pirates, always remain cautious and hide your true strength. Finishing his lecture, Blaze caught Smoker's arm with his hacky-coated arm and simply yanked. Under the force of his pull, the latter's body gravitated at him. Imbuing his right arm with hacky, Blaze punched at the latter's abdomen. Just as Smoker thought the attack would pass through his body, an extreme force struck him. Bang! Pain? He doesn't know how many years it has been since he felt pain. He struggled to breathe while his knees hit the floor with strength drained from his body. Single strike? He was defeated. Smoker looked at Blaze with questionable eyes. He didn't understand what happened and why the punch injured him. Struggling, he uttered. How? You just need to know, you are not invisible just because you ate Logia devil fruit. Saying this, Blaze helped Smoker to his feet and patted his back hardly. That eased his breathing difficulty. You previously said the devil fruit is wasted on me. What do you mean by that? Smoker asked. I can see you can change the density of the smoke, but it's not enough. Don't limit your imagination based on the fact that you know, explore, and incorporate different ideas into your devil fruit. Let me explain a simple concept. First, you need to find the nature of your smoke. For example, look at the sky. What do you see? Clouds. Smoker answered, looking up. How does it look? For me, it looks the same as your smoke. As soon as Blaze said his words, Smoker's eyes widened while an incredible expression surfaced on his face. Seeing the interaction, Zephyr smiled. It's what he hoped for. Blaze then shared some of his experiences and various encounters he had with pirates, which aroused the marine recruits' attention and enthusiasm. After that, Blaze said his goodbyes and prepared to leave the training field with Zephyr. He has other important things to do. He can't spend all day with the recruits. At that moment, Smoker came forward to thank him. Thank you. Patting his shoulder, Blaze encouraged. Train well, and left with Zephyr. So, what brought you here? Zephyr asked as they walked along the shoreline. Sensei, I am having trouble trying to master the various hacky concepts. I train and work harder than others, but I couldn't find the reason. Is it because I lack the talent in comprehending advanced level hacky? Blaze asked. Hearing his question, Zephyr laughed, aloud. This is Blaze's first time seeing the latter laugh, unrestrained. Zephyr didn't expect that Blaze, who's as strong as him, would be troubled over by such a flimsy matter. The funny thing is, he even thinks it's because he lacks talent. It made him laugh. Shaking his head, Zephyr spoke, your talent isn't the reason for this problem. Don't doubt yourself. Since you learned hacky yourself, I don't have to explain the spiritual power concept. I don't know who taught you hacky, but they failed to guide you properly. At least, they taught the basics well. To better understand your problem, let's test it. Show me your haki. Blaze nodded his head and channeled the haki throughout his body. Then, he directed them to his hand and performed the emission technique. A blast sounded while the haki flowed from his arms to the outside of his body. Zephyr watched everything with his keen eyes and pondered. Blaze looked at Zephyr and waited for his explanation. Your haki is strong, but I don't know why you are restraining it. Restraining it? Blaze didn't understand as he channeled his haki without holding back. As if seeing through his mind, Zephyr continued. I am not questioning your channeling process. I am asking about your haki nature. Does haki have nature? Blaze asked back and mused. Of course, they have. Haki is the embodiment of oneself, so they will naturally have the same characteristics as you. Let me explain in simple terms. The term haki is the same to everyone, but the nature of haki varies from person to person. In most cases, a person's haki nature will be based on their personality and temperament. Zephyr didn't have to say any more. Blaze understood the haki nature concept completely. But it doesn't mean his troubles are solved. Zephyr answered his question. Now it's up to him to understand why this answer to this question. Thank you, Sensei. My mind is somewhat clear now. Chapter 95, Speed Pirates. Blaze stayed for a night and decided to leave the next morning. He also introduced Koina to Zephyr. It surprised the latter when he said he took her as a marine trainee under his command. Meaning, he's going to train her. But, Zephyr couldn't find anything special in her. As for Regis, he needs no introduction as he's Zephyr-sensei's old student. Blaze pondered over the haki concept. Haki nature theory that Zephyr spoke gave him a new outlook. It will be a big breakthrough in his strength if he comprehends the concept correctly. Blaze didn't sleep for the entire night. He just relaxed on the ship deck and enjoyed the star-filled sky while looking through the files of Speed Pirates. After informing Zephyr, Blaze left the training camp early morning. He needs to prepare for the upcoming battle against Speed Pirates. After reading their file, he got a general idea of their strength and what they are good at. Without a doubt, they are strong as the crew's combined bounty is nearly 3 billion. What surprised Blaze is their battle records. They even had an encounter with beast pirates, but they were able to escape unscathed. The captain of the Speed Pirates has a staggering bounty of 1.48 billion berries while his brother has a bounty of 1.2 billion. Aside from them, there are other strong pirates among their crew. But, the core fighting strength of the crew is both Speed and Luke. If they want to bring down the Speed Pirates, the only option is to take down Speed and Luke. Otherwise, it's no use. Meaning, he and Kuzan have to defeat one each. Just thinking about fighting such a strong pirate crew excited Blaze very much. Only by fighting someone stronger than him, he can enjoy the battle and at the same time, improve himself. It's been so long since he met a worthy opponent where he can fight by putting his life on the line. Before Blaze's ship could reach the headquarters, Kuzan contacted him via the Den Den Mushi and explained the strategy. By his plan, they will leave from headquarters at night and reach the destination, Green Hill Island, by tomorrow morning. The night gives them good cover and it's when the pirates are the least alert. They will strike in the morning and catch them off guard. Kuzan continued. It won't be easy to bring them down. One of us had to fight Speed or Luke. Did you read their files? Yes, Blaze answered. Then, who do you want to fight? Kuzan asked. He wanted to take Speed and let Blaze handle Luke, but he wants to hear Blaze's opinion first. I will take Speed. Blaze responded, surprising Kuzan. Are you sure? He's not weak, you know. Speed is good at fleeing. He's so fast that not many people in the world can catch him once he decided to escape. Even I am not confident of stopping him. Kuzan expressed his thoughts. I have a way to restrain him. If nothing goes wrong, he won't be able to escape. Oh. Hearing his words, Kuzan pondered. It looks like I need to change the plan. His initial plan is simple. He wanted Blaze to defeat Luke at the shortest time possible while he handles Speed. During the fight, Blaze will get all the help from the other marine officers. As soon as they take down Luke, using numbers to their advantage, they will try to stop Speed. Frankly, Kuzan isn't confident of defeating Speed Pirates. It's because the number of resources at his hand is limited. Of course, if Marines dispatched another Admiral, Kizaru, or Akainu, they can effortlessly take down the Speed Pirates, but it's not possible. There are countless great pirates in New World. The Marines can't dispatch all their greatest forces just to take down a single pirate crew. It's frustrating, but there's no choice. There's only so many Marines, but the sea is full of pirates. Then, we will go by your choice. Kuzan and Blaze then discussed the strategy and corrected a few things. In no time, Blaze also reached the headquarters. He went to meet Kuzan and other Marine soldiers and officers who are going to partake in the operation. Green Hill Island, New World. Just as Blaze and Kuzan were having a meeting with the officers under their command, the Speed Pirates were relaxing on the island without any care in the world. The pirates were enjoying the wine and meat prepared by the chefs while Speed, Luke, and the other two people sat some distance away from the rest of the crew. Captain, is it okay for us to remain here for such a long time? A woman in her 30s asked. Suddenly, anger surfaced on her face. We even lost our territory to that beast pirates. Just thinking of it makes me furious. Cool down, Jasper. Did you forget what happened that day? If not for Captain stopping that beast Kaido, we wouldn't be alive right now. A scar-faced man named Fukin commented. Hearing it, Jasper grunted and smashed the huge boulder behind her. At that moment, Luke, who had a muscular physique, spoke. Jasper, first increase your strength, then we will speak about reclaiming our territory. You are too weak. Luke gulped the wine from his bottle and asked Speed, who rested on the ground with his right arm as support while gazing at the endless sea before him. Speed, why are we staying here? He knew his brother isn't like him. He's an extremely intelligent, cunning, and clever person. In their younger days, their village was destroyed and their parents were killed. As orphans, they were forced to fend for themselves and thrown into the cruel world of pirates, very young. Only after Speed became a devil fruit, their life turned for the better. Luke knew if Speed does something, there's always some deeper meaning behind it. It's always like this, as long as he remembers. It's because it's a nice place to have a large-scale battle. The scenery is good while the island is huge. Speed replied. Luke didn't understand. Speed knew this, so he continued. I am talking about the Marines. His words grabbed Jasper and Fukin's attention. Jasper exclaimed. Captain, are you saying Marines will come looking for us? 100%. Speed affirmed. Last time, we crushed the entire fleet and heavily injured that old admiral. Considering that, brother, even if they knew our location, they won't dare to come at us. Luke chuckled. Luke, you musclehead. I have told you countless times, don't underestimate the Marines. The Marines may have already discovered our location and I made sure of that. It's just a matter of time before they come looking for us. Chapter 96, Formidable Lineup. What? Speed, what did you do? Luke nearly roared while Jasper and Vulcan also gazed at Speed for an answer. Nothing. Just sent a few people in our crew to a nearby human-settled island to buy supplies. It happened 3 days back. Speed casually replied. By now, the Marine would have spotted our location. Luke groaned hearing it while Jasper and Fukin remained silent looking at their captain, waiting for his explanation. Speed continued. Recently, there are many changes happened in the higher-level Marine Command. Marine admirals have changed as the old-timers have retired, while new and strong ones took their place. All 3 of them possess formidable strength and devil fruit abilities, none of them are weak. Besides, Sengoku has become the new fleet admiral of the Marines. He's not to be underestimated. This time, it will be a tough fight. I am also not sure who the Marines will send after us. Let's wait and see. Brother, I don't understand. Why do you want to confront the Marines head-on? Can't we run? Luke asked. If we run, the Marines will keep on chasing us. Only after they understand our true power, they will stop bothering us. A good example is Whitebeard pirates. We were in the New World for many years, but have you ever seen or heard Marines pursuing them? The answer is no. It's because they don't dare to, as Whitebeard is acknowledged as the strongest man in the world. Similarly, we had to instill the same fear. Just a mere mention of speed pirates should terrorize and intimidate anyone hearing it. I like your plan, brother. As soon as the Marines come, I am going to sink their entire fleet and leave none alive. Luke knuckled his fingers one by one in excitement. If we do that, our names will once again resound throughout the Grand Line and our bounties will raise to a whole new level. It's sufficient to keep the others in check. Jasper exclaimed. But, it won't be easy. They will definitely send an admiral. It will be a problem if it's Akaino. Fukin uttered in a calm tone. It doesn't matter who comes, I will crush anyone who stands in our way. After my fight against Kaido, I learned a new technique. It's time to test them out. Speed rose to his speed and clenched his fist as red lightning sparkled around his arm. Around sunset, Marine headquarters. A fleet of 5 Marine battleships was docked, ready to set sail any moment. All the ships were huge with 4 masts, 2 with 2 sails, and 2 sets of 6 large cannons on both sides of their hulls. Each ship is capable of carrying 1,000 Marine soldiers, but right now, they had only 300 soldiers on board. Meaning, nearly 1,500 soldiers were gathered. Aside from the soldiers, the lineup had 1 admiral, 2 vice admirals, 5 rear admirals in their ranks. It's what Aokiji gathered to confront the speed pirates. Such a task force is enough to deter any pirate to death. In a way, the force is nearly equal to the infamous Buster Call, the ultimate form of military attack used by the Marines. To confront speed pirates, the lineup is a must. Everyone has been gathered. In a few minutes, the huge fleet will leave the port and sail towards the Green Hill Island located in the New World. The fleet admiral came in person to give a battle speech and some instruction. What made most of the officers feel weird is Blaze, a captain-ranked fellow standing next to Admiral Aokiji and Marine hero Garp as his equal. The funny thing is, no one pointed it out as if he's qualified to stand next to them. As for Blaze, without minding the weird stares, he chatted with Kuzan and Garp, who just came back this afternoon, finishing his short vacation. You brats, don't get beaten up. I have heard about the speed pirates. They rose after Roger's era and become great pirates in a short period. If you are not careful, they will crush you. Garp told both Blaze and Kuzan to be careful. Only recently Blaze learned. Sengoku wanted Garp to leave with Kuzan, but Garp rejected his request and suggested Blaze in his place. Blaze is grateful for that, otherwise, he would have missed the opportunity to fight such a strong pirate crew. Once Sengoku finished his speech, he said some words to Kuzan. He then came to Blaze. Blaze, be careful and don't let them get away. After that, the Marine officers boarded the respective ship while Blaze and Kuzan climbed onto the headship. Soon after, the entire fleet left the port and sailed towards the New World. Only Kuna and Regis boarded along with Blaze since he has no other soldiers under his command. Sengoku said that a new unit will be assigned under him after this mission. As the entire fleet disappeared under the setting sun, Sengoku spoke, "Garp, is it okay to send Blaze to such a dangerous mission? He's young, talented, and if given enough time he will definitely become a mighty figure. What do you know? Only when facing death, a person's true potential erupt. Blaze doesn't need time, he lacks strong adversaries. Wait and see, his powers will soon bloom and may even surpass us in a few years." Garp grinned. He's hopeful about Blaze. Sengoku shook his head hearing the reason. Both him and Garp's way of thinking is different. While he wants to give Blaze time, Garp wants to send him to death. Let's hope nothing happens. Sengoku sighed. I think you lost the drive after becoming the fleet admiral. Did you forget our journey? Which of us haven't faced failure or seen death? It's what made us stronger. Garp spoke. Aokiji, your admiral title is cool. Who picked it? Blaze asked Kizan. You can't choose the title, it's decided by the Marines and directly bestowed by Fleet Admiral, Aokiji lazily responded. Unlike normal times, he was dressed in a formal outfit that consists of a white buttoned-up vest with a standing collar over a long-sleeved navy blue shirt, with matching white trousers and black dress shoes. He also wore a Marine Admiral's coat draped over him like a cape. With Admiral's coat, how to say, he looked young, cool, and formidable. No wonder all the Marine soldiers respect him. Blaze thought. What he didn't know is, all the Marine soldiers and officers on board regards Blaze with contempt because of how casual he was with Kuzan. They personally think he's weak and acts superior as if he's above others. Chapter 97, Display of Power. Early morning. Blaze slept in the ship deck, like Kuzan, on a cozy recliner grudgingly prepared by the Marine soldier. Just now, the same soldier woke him up saying they neared Green Hill Island. In the soldier's eyes, he saw contempt and disdain. At first, Blaze didn't understand, but then it dawned on him it's because he's just a Marine captain. No wonder, I got those weird stares. Still, it didn't bother Blaze in any way. He rose to his feet and stretched his body before walking to the edge of the front deck. His devil fruit ability detected some heat signatures a few kilometers away. Aokiji woke up from his sleep a little earlier than him. He also stood on the front deck and gazed in the direction the Green Hill Island is located. He appeared very laid back and a little sleepy with no expression on his face. Blaze knew it's how Aokiji is. He then looked around to see if he knew anyone. He recognized 4 rear admirals, Momonga, Dalmatian, Tokicake, and Lacroix, who was a giant. As for the last one, he was an unknown face. He also had no clue about the 2 vice admirals who are on board, as they were unknown faces to him. Blaze, when should we attack? Aokiji asked. It's what Blaze likes about Kuzan. He treats him as an equal even though he's lower ranked and a lot younger than him. Let's attack now. Looking over the horizon, Blaze continued. The sun will rise in 30 or so minutes. Before the actual sun rises, let me show them the true power of Sunday. Sun. Aokiji scratched his head in confusion, not understanding his words. Let's get near. If we go any further, we will surely be spotted by the pirates. Aokiji shook his head. Hearing it, Blaze smiled. The speed pirate seems to have already noticed our arrival. Your plan won't work anymore. Let's attack them head-on. What do you mean? How? Aokiji finally showed a surprised expression. Blaze also didn't know how they noticed the arrival, but with heat signatures, he found all the pirates are on high alert and waiting in ambush. If not for his devil fruit ability, even he would have been fooled by them. Had they tried to sneak in without knowing this, it would have ended in a tragedy. Are you sure? Aokiji asked again. 90%? Why don't I go and check it? Blaze's hands felt itchy, so he proposed this method. Surprisingly, Aokiji agreed. Cracking his neck left and right, Blaze used Jeppo and jumped in the air. With a slight kick, his figure streaked towards Green Hill Island. At the same time, all the Marines were woken up and on high alert, ready to welcome the orders any moment. Kuna and Regis also came outside with other soldiers. When they came out, they noticed Blaze speeding away from the headship. Blaze stopped when he was just 500 meters away from the island. He mumbled, "It's been so long since I openly used my devil fruit power. It's time to let loose." Blaze stretched his right hand and a huge miniature sun burning in golden light materialized before him. Unlike before, they didn't emit any heat. The miniature sun grew bigger and brighter, illuminating the entire region as if the sun itself has risen. The change not only alerted the pirates but also alarmed the Marines. In no time, everyone witnessed the extraordinary sight. A huge sun with a diameter of around 50 meters hovered in the sky. The night sky turned extremely bright as if it was the middle of the day. Fuck, how did the night turn day all of a sudden? One of the speed pirates cursed. Forget about that. Look at the sky, look at the sun, it's at least 10 times bigger than we usually see. The huge commotion woke all the speed pirates. Even the deep sleeper Luke was roused from his dreams. If not for the abnormally big sun, he would have slapped his underlings for the racket. In fact, the speed pirates didn't know about the Marines' arrival. Blaze got the misconception because Speed ordered half of the crew to stay awake and ready to battle any moment. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. Luke directly asked Speed, "Brother, what's happening? Do you even need to ask? The Marines are here? Get ready, the attack is not simple." Speed spoke and commanded, "Fukin, Jasper, divide the crew as we planned. The number of Marines will be high, but if we act according to the plan, we can easily take them down." At the same time, on the other side, the Marine soldiers and officers were dumbstruck. Kuna stood on the deck like others and watched the display of power filled with awe. Regis-san, have you seen Blaze-san use this move before? Kuna asked Regis, who was next to her. Yes, but it's completely different. Regis answered, gripping his sword hilt tight. Vice admirals and rear admirals on board were also shocked. They knew Blaze because of the incident that happened before, but that's all there is to it. It's the first time they witness Blaze's strength with their own eyes. It's extraordinary. They also wondered what kind of devil fruit he had eaten. Only Kuzan didn't show any kind of shock or surprise, as he knew what Blaze is capable of. He also heard it from Garp-san. With a slight wave of Blaze's hand, the huge sun hurtled towards Green Hill Island. Seeing the scene, the speed pirates were nearly scared out of their wits. They have been in New World for many years and have seen things, but it's the first time for them to witness a sun descending upon them. They thought the end of the world is coming. But what happened next changed their views. Before the huge sun could crash into Green Hill Island, a muscular figure shot towards the sun and stopped the glowing golden ball of flame in one hand. Since there's no force behind the throw, Luke was able to stop it with the palm of his hand. Seeing it, Blaze smirked and snapped his finger. Boom. Chapter 98, Smasher Luke. Boom. A deafening and huge explosion occurred. Everything happened in an instant. Luke, who was near to the huge sun thrown by Blaze, got the full brunt of it. Flames and shockwaves grew, engulfing and obliterating everything they touch. It was overwhelming as the sea below directly evaporated into mist. Every living creature within a few mile radius felt the sudden increase in temperature. But, before the sea of flames could touch the Green Hill Island, a figure proudly stood before the attack. Speed waved his hand. It looked simple and slow, but his hand motion produced a mirage effect of countless hands. And the next moment, a huge airwave burst and confronted the Blaze's explosion. Bang! As the wind collided with the shockwave from the explosion, it created a thunderous sound. The impact cancelled the shockwave and diminished the intensity of the flames by 90%. What remained of Blaze's attack is a hot breeze that passed through Green Hill Island, just leveling some trees and charring a few speed pirates' skins. Everything happened in an instant. Even so, Speed was able to react and nullify the attack in that fraction of a second. It's only possible because he's Speed within human reflex. In the meantime, the Marines were awed by the display of power. As soon as the explosion went off, they saw the huge golden mushroom cloud. It was the biggest explosion they have seen in their life. The next moment, the sky was blanketed in thick, red clouds. As for what happened after, they couldn't see clearly from the distance. Still, respect rose in their hearts while the image of Blaze flashed before their eyes. Now they understood why Admiral Aokiji treated him as his equal. He's strong. Unlike others who watched the attack in wonder, Aokiji quickly snapped out of it and ordered the vice admirals to advance according to the plan and rushed towards Blaze to support him. Blaze squinted his eyes a little, seeing how well Speed reacted and handled the attack. Besides, he found Speed utilizing his devil fruit ability in an innovative manner. Another thing that surprised him is Luke. Even though he was at the center of the explosion and hit first, he looked perfectly alright aside from few injuries. Noticing this, Blaze's expression turned serious. Both Speed and Luke are different from what was written in the intelligence report. They are far stronger. Fuck. Thought I was gonna die. Luke roared. Standing at a solid 8 feet, Luke is tall while his body is extremely muscular and fit that oozed confidence. His black coat was turned to ashes under the explosion while his shirt and pants are burned to some degree, showing his toned body. His black eyes exuded the spirit of a beast ready to pounce, but now, there's a tinge of fear in them. In fact, as soon as Luke went to stop the attack and touched the huge sun, he knew the power contained within it vastly surpassed his imagination. Smelling the danger, his brain that normally works at a snail's pace performed well at that moment. Listening to them, he drained his haki reserve and channeled them throughout his body. The second before the explosion went off, he coated his entire body with haki. Thanks to that, he's still alive. Still, the high temperature, flames, and shockwave impacted his internal organs. It's been some time since Luke tasted his own blood. Spitting the blood, he glared at Blaze, who stood just tens of meters away from him. I am going to kill you. Saying this, he exploded with strength and rushed at Blaze. As he neared, his arms turned pitch black. But, Blaze sensed danger. Coating his own arms with haki, he faced Luke, who stormed at him like a beast with a ferocious expression, radiating murderous intent. Die. Roaring, Luke punched, aiming his opponent's head while Blaze threw a punch of his own to resist the attack. Boom. The strikes collided, the force from each fist exerted into one another and ousted into a loud, powerful shockwave that dispersed around. The sea below them rocked back and forth by the power shown by the two fighters. Blaze didn't know about Luke, but he felt as if he was challenging a mountain. Unbelievable? He developed the Kilo fruit to such degree. He could tell there's an immense increase in Luke's physical abilities, which results in him having unimaginable strength and sturdiness. The sheer destructive power granted by the devil fruit is simply indescribable. The weight increased by the devil fruit is way above the 10,000 kilogram. Blaze got the wrong idea of the devil fruit with his limited knowledge. On the other hand, Luke was stupefied by the result. Forget about his attack failing to injure his opponent. If not for his devil fruit ability increasing weight, he would have blasted far away by the opponent's strike. But, Blaze didn't know about this. He thought Luke is very strong, being able to face his punch head on. No wonder he got the title, Smasher Luke. In truth, Luke's haki mastery and control over his devil fruit abilities took Blaze by surprise. It's in a class of its own. Watching the confrontation between Luke and Blaze, Speed frowned. He failed to recognize Blaze and the ability he showed. None of this matched with the powerful Marines he knows of. If not for Blaze wearing the Marine coat, he would have thought it's a false alarm. But now he knew, it's the Marines who had come. And, some unknown and capable one shown to apprehend them. Interesting. Speed muttered and stretched his legs. But that's all there to it. He didn't take Blaze seriously. What he desires to know is, which admiral the Marines have sent. His goal is to terrorize the world and Marines with single shocking feat that will go down in the annals of history. So, it doesn't matter who comes after them. It's all the same in his eyes. He may seem arrogant but it's backed by his strength and fearless attitude. The next moment, his figure turned illusory and slowly faded away as if he was not here in the first place. Speed's form reappeared next to Luke while his right arm whizzed towards Blaze's chest. Chapter 99, Battle of Green Hill. Blaze was shocked and astonished noticing a gaping hole between his chest area. Had he hadn't shifted his body at the last moment, his heart may have been pierced by Speed, as well. His heart pounded, gushing more blood from the wound. Is it due to excitement, fear, or nervousness? Blaze doesn't know. His brain processed the attack and played it in his mind. It gave him a clear idea of what happened. In fact, Blaze's observation hacky discerned Speed's attack before it happened but he couldn't react. There's no time. Even so, his brain acted instinctively and coded the area the attack's going to hit with hacky. But, nothing stopped Speed's hand from piercing his body. It's not because Speed is stronger than him but the way he used his Devil Fruit ability is extraordinary. Blaze felt it. Before striking, Speed vibrated his hand with Speed Fruit. He cursed, fuck, his abilities are similar to a Flash. Of course, Speed's abilities are not as ridiculous as Flash but it's enough to trouble Blaze to large extent. On the other hand, Speed was astonished to see Blaze still standing even with the hole between his chest. Only then he noticed blood stopped flowing from the opponent's wounds while his heart thumping normally. I missed his heart. When did he dodge my blow? Speed wondered as he didn't see his opponent move during the strike. He stared deeply at Blaze as if he's trying to see through. Just as he planned to strike again and kill the Marine in one blow, Speed's eyes flashed red. His observation hacky sensed an incoming presence. The next moment, a massive wave of ice in the shape of a pheasant blasted towards them from the distance. But the ice pheasant hit nothing but a mirage left behind by Speed. He's too fast. He disappeared with Luke. Their figure reappeared at the shore of Green Hill Island. Though it may seem like a lengthy play, all of this happened in an instant. From the time Blaze and Luke exchanged a move, barely a second has passed. Just as Speed retreated, Aokiji appeared next to Blaze. Seeing him, Blaze chuckled. Kuzan, perfect timing. If you were late by a second, Speed would have heavily injured me. Would have? Aren't you already heavily injured? Aokiji marveled, gazing at the see-through hole in Blaze. I didn't expect to be injured at the start of the battle. It's my mistake, I was careless. Blaze mumbled and looked at his wound. With a little concentration, his Senju Constitution activated and began to heal his wounds. It was a weird sight. Muscles grew on their own and patched themselves, closing the gaping hole. Within a minute, the wound disappeared, not even a scar remained. The level of healing amazed Speed, Luke, and even Kuzan as he too didn't know. Crackling his knuckles, Blaze shouted, Oi, Speed. Since you tried to kill me, you can't blame me for showing any mercy. Even though he healed himself, it consumed nearly 50% of his physical force. Well, he can recover it once the sun rises, so it didn't affect Blaze in any way. On the other hand, Speed gazed at Kizura without minding Blaze. So they sent Aokiji. If they had taken me seriously, they would have sent Akainu or that light ability user Kizura. Still, he wasn't going to underestimate Aokiji just because he looks young and has an indifferent air around him. He knew none of the Marine admirals are weak as they are considered as the strongest Marine officers. Aokiji looked at Speed and Luke. His gaze then shifted to the Speed pirates who were rushing towards the east side of the Green Hill Island where their ships are docked. At that moment, the Marine fleet of 5 battleships appeared on the horizon and sailed towards where the Speed pirates are heading. None of the ships stopped to assist Blaze or Aokiji. Their target is Speed pirates, and they were ordered not to interfere in the battle as they can't do anything here. On board, vice admirals and rear admirals stood on the ship's front deck and commanded the soldiers to ready the cannon. Kuna and Regis gazed at the silhouette of Blaze standing far away from them. Kuna had worried look on her face. Seeing this, Regis spoke. Don't worry. Blaze-san is strong. You should worry about your upcoming fight. On the other side, 1/3 of Speed pirates boarded the ships docked at the coast under the leadership of Fukin. They had 2 huge ships and 1 medium-sized ship under their command. As for Jasper, she led the remaining pirates into the center of Green Hill Island. The pirates were divided into small groups and set ambushes in different parts of the island. Everything's planned by Speed. They had already scouted the island well and can use the terrain to their advantage. They just need to hold the Marine troop for half a day before Speed and Luke finish their fight. Once they gain victory, it would be a piece of cake to take down the other Marines. Time passed in seconds as Marine ships neared the island. When they are in range, the officers ordered to fire. The same happened on the pirates' side. Boom. Both sides fired the cannons. None of them hit any target as they are still far. Still, the atmosphere was so tense as it nearly choked the inexperienced Kuna. If not for Regis standing beside her and his reassuring words, she may have collapsed already. For Kuna, who comes from East Blue, this level of battle is beyond her imagination, but Blaze wants her to participate in it. She needs to temper her heart before improving her strength. Blaze thinks this battle is a valuable opportunity for Kuna to accumulate experience and understand herself. As cannons fired the shots, the soldiers and pirates fired their rifles at each other. Blood spilled as some cannonballs found the target while some bullets pierced the flesh. It was a messy and bloody situation. And, the Battle of Green Hill has finally started between the Marines and Speed Pirates. Chapter 100, Battle of Green Hill, 2. Marines had around 1,500 soldiers on their side, while there were nearly 300 pirates on the Speed Pirate crew. Marine has number advantage, still, it's the pirates' side that has a high chance of winning. Because, compared to Marine soldiers, all the pirates possess vast combat experience and faces a lot of life and death battles frequently. They strike to kill. The Marine battleships neared the Speed Pirates' ships that were docked some meters away from the shore. In no time, both sides crashed and the three Marines attacked the pirate ship with their numbers. A veteran Vice Admiral and Rear Admiral Tokicake confronted Fukin as he's the most dangerous and powerful among them. The Marines knew if they took out Fukin and Jasper, they win half the battle. As for the remaining ships, they anchored and the unit containing other Vice Admiral and 4 Rear Admirals led a portion of the soldiers towards Jasper. Before the confrontation, the Marines divided their force into 3 groups of 500 Marine soldiers. One group will remain on the ship, while the other 2 are responsible for facing Fukin and Jasper. Everything went according to the plan. Now, they had to bring down Vulcan and Jasper. If they managed it, apprehending other pirates will be simple. Fukin is a sword master and at the same time, the Vice Admiral who planned to confront him is also good at swords. And, Tokicake is a formidable haki user. On the other side, Jasper is a powerful woman and also a devil fruit user. She ate Nico no Mi, model cheetah. Her fruit is similar to the leopard model eaten by Rob Lucci. So, both Fukin and Jasper had high bounties, 280 million and 200 million bounties respectively. And, their level of haki is around the intermittent or advanced level. At that moment, Regis brought Kuna and followed the Marine group that pursued Jasper. It's Kuna's first time to participate in a battle of such level. She's scared. She gripped the sword with both hands. Still, it was shaking due to her being too nervous while sweat drenched her face completely. On the way, the Marine group was ambushed by the pirates 2 or 3 times. They utilized the terrain perfectly. It forced the Marine group to split into 4 groups. They had no choice and it's what the pirates want. They achieved it. It's too dangerous for Kuna to participate in such a battle. But, Regis was looking after her, so it won't be a problem. Blaze left the task of protecting Kuna to him because he's reliable and his haki level is just short of touching the intermediate stage. To be safer, Regis followed the Vice Admiral group when the Marines split into groups. Maybe it's their bad luck, just after a few minutes of marching, they were ambushed by the Jasper group. As sun hasn't risen yet, the visibility is low since the entire Green Hill Island is spread with dense vegetation. Of course, haki users can react instantly and evade the attacks directed at them, but most of the Marines are ordinary soldiers. The pirates used it to their advantage and employed a hit-and-run strategy. The Vice Admiral that Regis followed is called Brigham, who's an old veteran and looked as old as Garp. Without a doubt, he's experienced and strong. But, facing a young pirate who's full of vitality and energy, Regis isn't sure who will come out as a victor. Of course, if they had Rear Admiral's support, it's a different story. Jasper faced Vice Admiral Brigham with a smirk on her face. Nevertheless, she wasn't one to underestimate her opponents, and Speed 2 warned her about it. So, she decided to strike with her full strength. Utilizing her devil fruit power, she transformed into the full beast form of the cheetah. Her physical features changed as her height reached 7 feet while light-colored fur covered her body and she had oval-shaped spots all over her. She looked intimidating, presenting a wild look. Regis pushed Kuna behind him as he felt a huge threat from her. But, Jasper didn't even give them any look as she focused her entire attention on Brigham. Just as she confronted him, a pirate suddenly pounced from the shadow of a nearby tree. His target is Kuna, a weak-looking little girl holding a sword. With a cruel smile, he aimed his knife at her throat. Kuna noticed the attack but instead of dodging she froze in her tracks. A single thought ran in her mind, I am going to die. Of course, it didn't happen as Regis is beside her. He sent a powerful kick to the pirate's cheek and sent him flying back. The pirate didn't charge but fled in opposite direction. Regis gestured to Kuna to follow the pirate. Kuna, as a sword master you should be ashamed of failing to lift your sword even if your opponent is strong. Go and take him down. Calming her heart, Kuna steeled herself and rushed in the direction the pirate escaped while Regis followed behind. Dash. On the other side, Blaze and Cusin faced Speed and Luke. Luke, can you handle that unknown Marine? Speed asked. Though he has complete faith in his brother, Blaze's unusualness tingled his senses. And, he knew Luke exerted a large portion of his haki to protect himself when the explosion happened. Hearing Speed's words, Luke laughed wildly and stomped the ground that cracked the earth below them. With a huge leap, he bolted towards Blaze. Reckless, as always. Speed thought and planned to engage Aokiji. But, nothing went as they planned. Before Luke could approach Blaze, Aokiji confronted him. Aokiji's action completely baffled Speed. Isn't he supposed to fight me? As he decided to intervene in the battle, Blaze appeared and blocked his way. A thought came to Speed's mind. Don't tell me, they intend to do this from the very start. The speed fruit is a good one and you developed it well, Speed. I too developed an ability that enhanced my speed, but it's still in learning pace. Why don't we test it out? Blaze said, stretching his muscles. You are too arrogant, nameless marine. Who do you think I am? Speed's voice rose and reverberated throughout Green Hill Island. The next moment, his form turned blurry and before it could fade, his figure appeared before Blaze and punched. His fist vibrated so fast that the air churned around his fist, while the wind danced according to his will. When he punched, the surrounding itself cracked while a blast of pressure escaped. But before they could gain momentum and assault his opponent, Blaze enveloped his arm with multiple layers of solar energy and further coated it with haki before delivering a punch of his own.